Good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Mental Training Secrets for Success, Health, Wealth, and Happiness. I'm your host and trainer for this evening, Dr. David Snyder, DACM. And today we're going to be discussing some interesting and powerful ways that you can begin to transform your life. Now, before I get into what I lovingly call the David Dog and Pony Show, there are some administrative things that I do always like to get out of the way. First of all, this is a webinar, so any kind of Q&A will be pretty much limited to chats. We are simulcasting this from our Zoom platform to the YouTube channel. Our chats, which are functioning in both Zoom and on YouTube, are in real time. However, there is usually about a 60 to 90 second lag, I would say, maybe sometimes more, between when I say something or when you see something on the video feed and when it actually shows up in the YouTube channel. So a couple of things in terms of logistics. If you have a question, and I love questions, but remember that there is a set presentation. And before we're going to get into a couple of questions, but I love questions. And sometimes they're relevant and I will answer them where they're relevant. When they're not relevant, I will circle back towards the end of a webinar or when I go back and review the chat logs, and I will actually answer them through the comment section in your in the video section for this live feed. So a couple of things really quick. If this is your first time with us, please type in your name, where you're calling in from or where you're checking in from, and first in the chat. This is a very interactive process because one of the goals of this particular training is for you to come away with actionable skills, things that you can take out into the world right now, today, in the moment, and build on it and start using them to make your life better and make everything that you want it to be. So if this is your first time with us, please type first time in the chat where you're checking in from. If this is not your first time, if you've been bebopping around NLP Power and Planet David through our live events and things like that for any length of time, if you've actually taken some of our techniques, some of our trainings out into the real world and actually use them to create change, please type veteran in the chat, and so people can see that we actually have quite a few returning people. And as is my tradition, obviously whenever somebody comes into a webinar, there's the expectation, okay, he's gonna give me fluff for 50, 60, 90 minutes, and then he's gonna say, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. That's not how things work in Planet David. We do it. We have a webinar format that we lovingly call a free form webinar. And what that means is we have a set curriculum or a set body of technique and things that we want to deliver to you, actionable skills that will, if you do them, will deliver tremendous, tremendous value to you. However, at a certain point in this webinar, we specifically give you the opportunity to tell us how to customize today's content for you. This is, again, so let me explain how things work. If this is the scope of everything that there is to learn in terms of how to run your mind for success, wealth, health, and happiness, we have the time for like this much. So my commitment to you is, in the time that we have, I will take you as far as I can. I will give you and deliver to you as much information as is humanly possible. And I will point you in the direction of what steps to take next and where to take it further if that's something you're interested in doing. Is that a fair trade? Just if you think that's a fair trade, go ahead and type that in the chat form. Okay, cool, excellent. Now, along the same lines of that, and anybody who runs webinars will always have an offer. They'll have a package that they put together for you to help you take your training further. This webinar is no different. However, the way we're going to present that to you is going to be very, very different. So I want to give you the outline of what you can expect in today's webinar so that you can budget your time appropriately. First of all, if you're a first-time caller, first-time person checking in with us, and you were expecting like a 90-minute webinar and then you're off out into la la land, you're going to be both pleasantly surprised and disappointed a little bit. Because our webinars never go 90 minutes. They're always longer. And we're always going to continue to deliver actionable things. It's an interactive process, and you don't have to believe anything that we're telling you in order for it to work for you. You just have to roll your sleeves up and do the drills in a mechanical, committed way, and calibrate the results for yourself. That being said, for the first 60 minutes or so, I'm going to deliver to you as much content and lay the foundations for things as much as I can. There are certain things that have to come before other things that, when you put them together in the right way, they yield a result that's greater than the sum of the parts. So for the first 60 minutes, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be giving you techniques. I'm going to be giving you theories and principles. We're going to begin to put them all together. At about the 60-minute mark, 60 minutes to 90, usually between 60 and 90 minutes, I will take a break to present the offer that we've put together for you. Because a lot of people, when they schedule webinars and they block out time for webinars, they tend to do it in 90-minute blocks because that's what the average webinar goes. So to keep, for the people who need to go, who are staying up late, like in the UK or in Russia or Australia or whatever, 90-minute, we're gonna present the package that we have. It usually takes about 20-30 minutes to talk about what we've got put together for you, for those of you who want to take it further. And then when that's done, we're going to come back to teaching. We're going to continue to teach for another 60, 90 minutes. And that content will be largely based on what you have asked about. We will take the curriculum that we've created for this webinar, and we will customize it to the needs of you, what you want, what you desire, what you want to focus on. Now, some people were asking about emotions. Some people were asking about how to get more women. Some people were asking about how to get rid of negativity. Those are all things that are very much doable with the technologies that we're going to begin to guide you through. These, again, our goal here is not to just sell you something. Our goal here is to just give you as much actionable, user-friendly content that has the highest percentage of working for you right off the bat, so that you come out of this webinar empowered, ready and able to make a change. And then when you're ready to go further, you'll know where to go for that. Is that a fair assess? Is that a fair explanation of my intentions for today? If you think that's fair, go ahead and type that in the chat for me. Okay. The other thing is that, as you noticed, I asked if there were veterans on the call today. And one of the reasons is you expect, when the guy is up here and he's teaching, you expect him to be biased. You expect him to think, hey, my stuff's great, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. However, I always put the veterans to work, because it's the veterans. The reason they're veterans is because they took this stuff out into the field, either through live events, through courses that they've had, or through ongoing trainings like this. They've taken these things out into the world and they've used them, and they've gotten an amazing result, and they've come back for the next level. And so here's what I would like my veteran people to do. And you know who you are. Yeah, Paul, you got to work, right? If you see a question in the chat that I don't answer, or that you have a direct experience utilizing our techniques from NLP Power and Planet David to fix in the real world, please take the time to answer those people in the chat. Let them know how you've taken the material and solved the same problem that they have for yourself. Okay, because they expect me to be biased. They expect me to say, hey, we can do this, we can do that. You're the ones who are the true proof of the pudding. You're the ones who walk the walk and talk the talk. Okay, so that being said, like I said, we were going to jump into the standard presentation at a certain point in the training. Once again, I'm going to be literally asking you, type in the chat what you want to learn about, because we're going to customize the techniques and the processes to more perfectly fit what you want. Does that sound like a good deal? Go ahead and type that in the chat if you think that's a good deal. Cool. All right. Perfect. All right. So without further ado, standard disclaimer. If politically incorrect language, colorful metaphors, swearing, or the word boobies offends you, this is probably not the best use of your 90 minutes to 3 hours. You may hear noises in the background because my kids just got home from virtual school and they may be yelling at each other and doing things. And that just lets you know that, just like you, I'm dealing with all the COVID restrictions and everything else. Jamie's asking me if we can talk about procrastination. Jamie, if you apply the things that I'm going to share with you, you're going to find procrastination becoming minimized automatically. Now, it doesn't mean there aren't specific techniques for getting rid of procrastination, but usually procrastination distills down to fear and a lack of reason why. We'll talk about that when we talk about emotional bonding and emotional motivation. Okay, so without any further ado, with your permission, I'd like to go ahead and begin our formal presentation, starting with my bio. If that's okay, go ahead and type that in the chat and we'll get started. And is it okay if I wear my cool computer glasses so I don't burn my retinas out? Go for it. All right, thank you. All right, without any further ado, let's go ahead and begin today's program with, ladies and gentlemen, mental training secrets, success, wealth, health, and happiness, revealed in this exclusive online class. I'm going to show, on a minute, am I showing you the right screen? Hold on a second. I got to make sure I'm showing you the right screen. There we go. All right, I'm not getting my little green outline. Anyway, revealed in this exclusive online masterclass, you're going to discover psychological tips for reprogramming your subconscious mind, how to remove blocks to your success, get rid of negative emotions, and program your mind for unlimited success, health, wealth, and happiness. I'm your host, Dr. David Snyder, DACM, and that probably begs the primary question: who the hell is Dr. David Snyder and why should I care? Well, first and foremost, you should probably know I am an actual doctor of Oriental medicine. This is my diploma from Pacific College of Oriental Medicine. I'm a doctor in acupuncture and Chinese medicine. In 2020, I was voted the #1 NLP trainer in the world by globalgurus.org. This is my bio from Global Gurus, and hopefully with your support and votes, we'll take #2 again in 2021. But I've authored over 15 different products in various forms of human influence, everything ranging from covert influence, sales and marketing, trainings, storytelling, metaphor, therapy interventions. If it involves influencing human beings in any way, shape, or form, I am engaged in actively researching, studying, and creating trainings that allow people to take their lives to the next level. I've been running a practice. This is another thing. This was what you're seeing here is a letter I got from globalgurus.org not too long ago. And it says, "Dear David, it is with great pleasure to announce that your training program, Killer Influence, has been chosen by global peers and ranked as the #1 best program in the world for neurolinguistic programming. We have attached a logo for you to add to your program marketing and recommend the link to the page." And so what you'll see here is our program, Killer Influence, that from which some of this material is drawn, was voted the #1 NLP program in the world among some really heavy hitters here. So this is, you can see this. You can go to globalgurus.org. And if you want to vote for us to get us for 2021 as well, I'd appreciate that. For those of you who aren't familiar with my background, I'm also a lifelong martial artist. I have a 10th degree black belt in Ryukyu Kempo Karate. I have a 4th degree black belt in Shaolin Kung Tao, 2nd degree black belt in Kosho Kempo Ryu, 1st degree black belt in Fanku Ryu Jiu-Jitsu. I'm also a certified instructor in Combat Sistema, Cinco Mano Eskrima, and Modern Arnis. Some of my energy work credentials, which are by all means not exclusive to what's listed here. I've been a Reiki master teacher since 1990s, before Reiki was even cool. I've been studying Kabbalah and Hermetics for a very long time as well. I'm an advanced pranic healer and pranic psychotherapist. I have a certification in advanced DNA theta healing, Bankston energy healing, and various forms of Qigong. And of course, if you look at all this, and by the way, for those of you who are wondering, I also have been running a clinic let me just put this up there really quick. I've been running a clinic here in Solana Beach, California since 2005, where I've specialized in treating physiological illness that has as its roots repressed emotion. So while some trainers out there deal with, I just saw something that's distracting. Actually, so while some people deal with, smoke cessation or weight loss or what have you, I spend a lot of time unpacking terminal and chronic illness and finding the roots of that and helping people dissolve the emotional underpinnings of it. So let me just go back to my training here. So what do all these things have in common? Well, first and foremost, state control and pattern recognition. Now, what do state control and pattern recognition have to do with programming your mind? Pretty much everything, right? So this class is for you if you would like to learn to become super attractive to the opposite sex and maybe even have them find you fascinating, irresistible, or absolutely charming. If there's anybody here who would like to be able to do those kind of things, go ahead and type that in the chat. right? How many of you here would like to be able to banish fear and insecurity from your life, and radiate confidence and assertiveness and power, maybe even be more truly alpha in your world? If you'd like to protect yourself from manipulators and easily handle difficult people, go ahead and type that in the chat if that's something that you think would be useful for you. If you'd like to learn how to make more money, to earn more money, to deserve more money, to book more clients, and for your business, or get that promotion or raise you know you deserve, go ahead and type those in. Go ahead and type yes in the chat. Program yourself to create massive financial abundance with more than enough energy to buy the things you want and then some. This is probably a good place for you to hang out for the next couple, 3 hours. Okay. If you'd like to be able to cause people to like and admire and trust you, this is probably a good place to hang out for a while, because you're going to learn two sides of influence, both influencing yourself and influencing your other people. And many times these are the things that, when we see something or we learn something, we learn it from one particular perspective. But if we just change our way we look at something, things can become very, very powerful for us. Okay, if you'd like a little secret insider tip for learning how to nail 2 or 3 job interviews in a row, or have them salivating to hire you, pay very, very attention to one of the very first exercises that we're going to teach you. It's called the emotional bonding checklist, and it's something that I think every single one of us needs to understand, both from a interpersonal influence perspective, as well as from a intrapersonal. In other words, how do we relate to ourselves? How do we motivate ourselves? How do we find the real emotional drivers that allow us to really move forward with our lives and get past that procrastination? Okay. If you'd like to learn how to use the same thing, I know I'm not sharing the list. It's okay. I'm just reading it for you, but if you want me to share it, I'll share it. If you'd like to learn how to inspire your employees, your children, or your spouse to do what you'd like them to do and make them want to do it, this is probably a good place to begin to get the foundations for those skills, okay? If there's anything I missed that you would like to utilize these skills for, go ahead and take a moment and type that into chat for me. Go ahead and do that. I just want to see what you got for me. They want Darth Snyder I want everything, Darth Snyder. You're going to have to wait. What can't you do with what I mentioned? There isn't a whole lot that you can't do. There isn't a lot you can't do. Mark Antoine is asking, or Music's 80s is asking for issues with past failures and traumas. That's fine. We can do that. Are there any good techniques to reduce anxiety and present moments? Yes, lots of them. You're going to find out that there's going to be some really cool things that we can do. All right, so let's go back to the PowerPoint, because if you stay on till the end of the presentation, here's my personal promise to you. If you stay till the end of the webinar, I'm going to share with you some of the fastest, most powerful, and direct ways to reprogram your mind and body for unlimited success, health, wealth, and happiness. I'm going to teach you how to put a dead stop halt to procrastination. I'm going to show you in a very specific way how to remove blocks to your success. I'm going to teach you how to get rid of negative emotions, fear, pain, and limiting beliefs. And I'm going to show you in a very, very specific way the exact steps you need to take to go from interesting information to maximum transformation in minimum time. Does that sound like a good plan for today? Does that sound like something you guys would be interested in doing? Okay. They're saying, bring it on, fuck yes, right? They're cussing at me. It's okay. Cool. All right. So let me go over really, really quickly what I would like to share with you in this webinar. Now, like I said, many of you are first timers. And so you come in with a little 90-minute mark blocked out in your head. And while that's useful, that's really not how our webinars work. But if you need to check out prior and come back and circle back, you'll still be able to take advantage of some of the specials and get the full content, but some of the fast action bonuses that we offer may not be available. So let's look at what I intend to cover to a greater or lesser degree in this webinar, really, really quickly. Okay. We're going to teach you in this webinar the 2 most important factors for success, the 3 ingredients of achievement. And by the way, going back to these 2 most important factors for success, without these, it doesn't matter what you know about law of attraction. It doesn't matter what you know about magic or NLP or hypnosis. If you don't have these 2 factors engaged for you, none of the rest matters. None of the rest matters. So this is going to be this is where the rubber really starts to meet the road. We're going to talk about the 3 ingredients to achievement. And this is based on something I learned from W. Clement Stone through his training with combined insurance so many years ago. And I found it to be true over and over again. And even back in the early part of the 20th century, these things were already well known. Okay. We're going to talk about the rules of the mind, the ones they didn't tell you about. Right? We're going to talk about body-centered energy psychology, which to me is where these things like hypnosis and NLP and all the energy disciplines out there really start to come together to create a whole that's greater than the sum of the parts. We're going to teach you about how to reprogram the subconscious body-mind. Brian Green says, hi, I'm an ex-combined agent as well. Yes, I've sold many giants, Brian, right? We're going to show you how to program your future and clear your past. And finally, we're going to show you in a very specific way how to take control, how to get the life you want the way you want it. We're going to do that through a very specific set of programs and skills that we're going to recommend to you. Does that sound like a plan? Type in the chat if you think that's a good plan. Okay, cool. So let's talk about the 2 most important ingredients to success, why they're important, and why you need to understand them. First and foremost, there we go. We're going to talk about the first factor that I want to share with you. I want to talk about is this concept of something we call identity. Now, I could spend hours just talking about the human principle of identity and identification. But at the end of the day, you have inside of each and every human being a self-concept, a concept that determines your life, based on your life experience, based on the information and the upbringing that you had, the mentors that you've identified with. And when I talk about identity versus identification, I really want to start to drill down on this concept a little bit. One of the guys featured in The Secret so many years ago, a guy by the name of John Assaraf, was quoted as saying, you can't outperform your level of psychology or your level of self-esteem or your self-image. And what he meant by that was if you have a self-image or a self-concept that says you only deserve X, Y, Z, right? In terms of mating, dating, and relating, if you deserve a partner who on a 0 to 10 scale is a 5, if you meet someone who's a 7, you will find a way to screw that relationship up. If you are someone who in their head believes they only deserve to make $35,000 a year, and you somehow wind up in a position where you're making $70,000 a year, you will find a way to screw that up, or you will go through a very, very uncomfortable process of becoming somebody who deserves to have it. And so one of the very first things that Assaraf alluded to in that particular, and I'm not a big fan of The Secret, by the way, they left a lot of stuff out. But I want to start there because we've all had to some degree, we've all experienced with these things called the law of attraction and personal development, things of that nature. So we're going to talk about this idea of identity and identification. There's a book I've been promoting for many years. It's no longer in print. If you can get a copy, I highly recommend you do it. It's called Red Gold, and it was a book based on the Soviet approach to autogenic training that allowed them to sweep the Olympics way back when. And one of the concepts in that book, and the author of that book, by the way, was a guy by the name of Grigory Ryport. Grigory said that basically anything that you identify with controls you. Anything that you can disidentify from, you gain control over. Now, do you guys understand that concept? Go ahead. If you understand the concept, type it in the chat. If you don't, go ahead and type that in the chat, because I want you to really understand when we start talking about identity and the building blocks and the foundations of identity, where we're going with this. Okay. So many times when people talk about what they do for a living, okay, they will say to themselves, you ask them, what do you do for a living? They'll say, I am a teacher. I am a therapist. I am a trainer, right? And anytime you hear the words I am in front of something, what you are hearing is in what we call an NLP and derivatives, an identity statement. In other words, who they are is the same as what they do. In that person's mind, they are the same thing. So if something happens, let's say this person is a corporate accountant, right? And they've been at the same company for 20 or 30 years, right? And they've really become, they identify themselves as what they do. and all of a sudden something happens to that job. Well, all of a sudden, one of the major pillars of their self-concept and their view of their world and their place in it has been thrown out from under them. And all of a sudden, other things will start to go away as well. Many times people who lose their job often wind up having relationship problems and often lose their relationship. People who become very identified with the relationship that they're in, when that relationship dissolves or disintegrates or just constructs, their job also often suffers. They often lose their ability to perform at work. So there's these pillars to our identity, and they're largely a belief system about who we are and our place in it. When we can start to change the building blocks of those identity pillars, we can start to change what we're capable of and what our neurology will let us achieve. Okay, are we cool so far? Okay. Let's see here. Going back to this. Now, whether this is actually 100% true or not, it's true enough to be true. One of the things that early researchers in terms of belief systems discovered, or at least arrived at, was that we have a hierarchy in our neurology. We have a hierarchy in our neurology of beliefs. And these beliefs function from a top to bottom kind of an organization. So in other words, when I look at spirituality and purpose, everything that's up here at this level of the belief pyramid controls and influences everything below it. And so what the Russians were saying, not through NLP, by the way, is that if you have something that is living up here in your mind, it controls all this other stuff. And so it controls you. But if you can somehow disidentify, in other words, you can make a separation between what you are and what you do, or what you have, or what is right, or what your environment says, you can have control over it. So, and this was even true in the pranic healing systems. Master Choa, he would have this little meditation or this little mantra that he would teach his students. He would say, I have emotions, but I am not my emotions. I have feelings, or I have clothing, but I am not my clothing. And this whole process, again, different systems coming at this same idea, that when we identify with something, it has the ability to influence us and control us. When we separate and disidentify from it, we gain power over it. Now, this hierarchy of belief systems is what we want to begin to play with. And we're going to look at different ways to play with this hierarchy of beliefs. Now, regardless of where the level of belief is, they're all built the same way. They're all built out of the same basic building blocks. Now, NLP used to say visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, gustatory, or VACOG. And they would approach it as these things were purely constructs. These were hallucinations. My experience has been that these things actually have a vibrational and an energetic correlate to them. They actually do exist. And we can begin to change things very, very powerfully by interacting with this VACOG system, or what I call the primary encoding system. Now, when we talk about beliefs on another level, you can take all of these beliefs and you can separate them into two basic kinds. You have, for all intents and purposes, beliefs that you know about, beliefs that you don't. Okay? Part of our job as people who are deliberately self-evolving is to consistently begin to uncover the beliefs that we didn't know we have, right? And if you've ever done our yin affirmation process, that's where a lot of this comes out. If you've ever done our STEMS process, that's where you can begin to deal with these things. Now, one of the common beliefs, or the common misconceptions about beliefs in general, the common bad beliefs about beliefs is that they're big, unchangeable, iceberg-sized things that run our life, when in fact, they're actually not. Beliefs at their most basic concept, or their basic inception, are decisions that we made about the way the world is, based on the information that we had, the environment we were in, and the emotional state we were in at the time. And now the hard part about that is once these beliefs are accepted, If we try to approach them rationally, if we try to attack them logically, they tend to become stronger unless we're providing huge amounts of evidence to the contrary. However, like I said up here, all beliefs, regardless of what level they're at in this hierarchy, are built from the same stuff. They're built from the same bricks and mortar, for lack of a better word. And we can begin to affect change very, very powerfully. Pardon me while I try to get this to erase. There we go. Okay. By affecting change through the VAKOG system. Okay. So the identity that we have and the belief system that supports it is what creates the first lens to our ability to achieve. Okay, there's some weird going on stuff here. Oh, okay, there's some weird stuff. I'm gonna just turn the chat off for right now because it's distracting the hell out of me and I wanna make sure that I get through this. But are you guys with me so far that we have an identity that's based on a belief system that has a hierarchical structure to it, and that you can divide each of those levels into two categories, beliefs we know about and beliefs we don't, right? And that regardless of what level of belief these things are at, they're all built from the same stuff, the same visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory distinctions. Now, but also remember that I said that these things are not just things that somebody made up. These things have an actual vibrational, energetic phenomenality to them that is processed through the filter, the lens, or the prism of your autonomic nervous system. And we're going to begin to learn very, very quickly how to rapidly transform these VAKOG structures using a body-centered approach. We call it body-centered energy psychotherapy. And part of the process that we're going to be utilizing is learning how to dialogue with the autonomic nervous system. And there's 6 basic dynamics that we need to understand. And it doesn't really matter what system of personal development that you're pulling from. Understanding these 6 characteristics of dialoguing with an unconscious response is going to allow you to ask better questions and trust the information that you get. So I want to jump into these 6 characteristics of an unconscious response, elaborate on them a little bit, so you have them in your lexicon. Then we'll circle back. We'll cover the second category of information that are the second of the 2 ingredients you actually have to have for success. So let's look at the 6 dynamics of an unconscious response. Where is it? Okay, here we go. Can everybody see this okay? If you get nothing else, regardless of whether you're somebody who likes to do affirmations, you like NLP or hypnosis or EMDR or energy medicine or whatever, if you understand these 6 characteristics, how many people here, by the way, how many people here actually like do client work or see people professionally as either in a coaching capacity or mentoring capacity or what have you? Let me just take a look really quick. Okay, cool. If you want to begin to, kind of troubleshoot and bulletproof the success of your session, if you want to minimize lack of buy-in to the processes, teach your clients these 6 characteristics before you begin any form of altered state work with them. Because by and large, if you do this, anything they experience during the session will become an enhancer to what we're doing. So let's talk about this really quick. Okay, first of all, dialoguing with the subconscious mind. Here's the first and most important piece. Your unconscious mind always answers first. Usually nonverbal. But when you're going through this internal dialogue process and you ask yourself a question, pay attention to the very first thing that comes up, either verbally or non-verbally. If you're working with a client and you ask a question, watch what happens to their face and their body in the first second to half a second of hearing the question and processing what you said. Because that information is going to be extremely valuable to you in terms of what's coming up first. The second thing to remember is that the unconscious mind always answers us honestly. So in other words, the unconscious mind, when it answers, it will tell us the truth as it sees it, as it perceives it, right? That may be at odds with what we consciously want to believe. or what we consciously want other people to believe. So when you ask a person a question, pay attention to that window of, from asking the question all the way up to 2 to 3 seconds, and notice what kind of processing they go through. Notice how their nonverbal responses work. Notice how if they seem to be editing themselves, and you can watch their eyes move around, right? If they go to answer and they suddenly pull themselves back, you can almost guarantee that they're encountering unconscious dynamic number 3, which is they almost always have an urge to edit what just came up. Because what they want to say versus, or what is true for them is sometimes too sensitive for them to want to express outwardly, either to themselves, because it goes against their conscious self-concept, or they don't want to be judged for the answer. So the third dynamic is always going to be, it always feels like they're making it up, and they're always going to have an urge to edit what they make up. This is one of the things that you can almost always take to the bank when we're dialoguing with the unconscious mind. There's an old saying that the conscious mind shouts, the unconscious mind whispers. And so when we start to really become focused on personal transformation, we must learn to ignore the loud voice and focus on that still small voice, as Jack Williams is saying in the chat. Because one of the characteristics of unconscious responses is it almost always has a far away or faint quality to it. And when we begin to hone in on that, we can begin to find the true source of where the problem actually is. Now, this goes hand in hand with key number 4, which is you always have an urge to edit what just came up. You'll see this over and over and over again. Many times when I'm working with a client, especially when we're doing like some kind of regress to cause or something like that, I'll say, go back to the very first scene, situation, or event that is the source, the beginning, the root cause of XYZ problem. And they came in for a problem that started when they were in their 20s. All of a sudden, they're 5 years old or 4 years old. And maybe they're coming in for relationship problems, and they're back in the living room watching their mom and dad argue at 4 years old. And there's a part of them, the conscious part of them, is saying, no, that can't be right. Unconscious mind is saying, it's absolutely right. That's where this started. That was the hook. You got to understand that when you start to do this stuff with clients, when you start to do this on yourself, that urge to edit is going to be there, because the conscious mind has an expectation of what it's supposed to be, which is often completely different from what's actually true. So when you're doing this kind of self-work, especially when you're doing this kind of self-work, you've absolutely got to pay attention to that urge to edit. Whatever comes up first is where you start, and that's where you keep going, you keep digging, right? If there's a part of you that's saying, oh, that's not it, or that can't be right, guess what? That's probably right. That's probably where you need to be going, okay? Last 2. It's never loud. Like I said, it's almost always small or tiny or whim in the back of your mind, and it's almost never linear. Just going back to that example of the client who comes in for a marital problem in their 20s or 30s. They think the problem started, 8 years ago, when XYZ caught their spouse cheating or lying about something, or started drinking or whatever. You regress to cause, and all of a sudden they're 4 years old watching their parents argue back and forth, right? Many times, remember that the unconscious mind is an entity that doesn't track linear time as we consciously understand it. Your unconscious mind groups things by what they have in common, and through a special filter gives us the illusion of linearity. It gives us the illusion that there's a sequence of events. Okay, but when it actually organizes experiences, it does it interoceptively through commonalities, things that are similar in some way. And so many times you'll get a series of events that are very separated in time, but have 1 or 2 elements in common that creates this complex of things that we want to start to begin to unravel. And we're going to show you some very powerful ways to do that. I see all the raised hands, but I need to get through this foundational material first. Are you guys with me so far? Is this useful? Cool. All right, so let's review very, very quickly. 6 dynamics of an unconscious response. The unconscious mind always, and it doesn't matter if you're doing this in formal altered state work, if you're doing like a STEMS technique, you're doing anything where you're dialoguing with your own autonomic nervous system, the unconscious mind always answers first. It always answers honestly. It always is going to feel like you're making it up. You're always going to have an urge to edit what just came up. And finally, it's never loud. And it's never linear. It's always like a whim or a notion in the back of your mind, and it feels like it's off in the distance, okay? Ashlyn's saying, I'm taking notes. Good, good. You're going to, and these 6 characteristics, you're going to hear me in some form or another. You're going to hear this same set of 6 characteristics coming up every time I teach. They are too important. They are too important for your understanding of dealing with the mind-body interface, okay? And if you follow these instructions, you can trust the vast majority of information that you get, okay? So let's go back and look at, now once we understand this, what can we do with it? Well, we can remove limiting beliefs very, very easily. We can get rid of negative emotions. We can overcome procrastination and resistance. We can program the future. And there's some very cool ways that we do that. We can become the best version of ourselves, and we can begin to move towards getting the life that we want, the way that we want it. Going back to the 2 most ingredients for success, what else do we need? Well, first and foremost, once you have this set up, okay, and by the way, the material that I'm teaching you is drawn from a much more comprehensive system we call the Identity by Design silo. You can see that here. In the Identity by Design silo, there's a 7-stage process. Each piece targets a building block of personality or identity. The first part is we're going to remove all the negativity from your mind and body, the negativity that you knew about, and a lot of the negativity you didn't even know you had. Then we're going to take and we're going to remove the specific negativity. And what this means is that there are certain issues that we have that the unconscious mind is afraid to let go of because they're serving a purpose. They're keeping us from getting hurt again. They're keeping us from experiencing pain or trauma again. And as long as the threat of re-experiencing that pain or trauma is there, the unconscious mind will not let go of that issue. So we have a very specific set of techniques that we utilize for removing these safety lessons that need to be kept so you can let everything else go. Then we're going to teach you how to install the default driver states: curious, triumph, victorious, relentless. These are the ones that move you forward and instead of holding you back. We're going to teach you how to reprogram your internal dialogue so that the voice inside your head builds you up instead of tears you down. And then we're going to teach you how to sanitize the negativity from your past so that when you look back on your past, you only remember it in ways that make your life better. Then we're going to take this entire complex of processes and we're going to actually install them at the spiritual and genetic level as a template for your neurology to follow. If you've studied any of the work by Bruce Lipton, we know that our DNA is very, very programmable. And by going back in time, we can install these filters that allow our neurology to create a much better version of ourselves. Once we know how to do that, we're going to acquire the qualities, characteristics, traits, and attributes of people that we admire, people that we want to be more like. And we're going to install those through a process that we call deep trance identification. So you have those qualities and characteristics for yourself. Now, obviously, we can't do all that in a 2 or 3 hour webinar like this. This is the entire Identity by Design system. And for those of you who want more information about that, we'll include that at the end of the webinar so you can get this training for yourself and utilize it to get everything you want from life, the universe, and everything. So I wanted to just kind of take that little segue and show you that what you're seeing and what you're learning is excerpts from a much larger system. Are we clear with that? Are we cool with that so far? Cool. All right. So what's the second component of getting everything you want? Well, it's real simple. It's called action. No matter what you want, if you don't take any form of action in the real world, these transformations are largely moot, okay? All forms of altered state work, ASC or altered states of consciousness, and internal alchemical work must be balanced with the appropriate actions in the material world. In other words, you got to get off your ass and you got to do something, right? Now, the more in harmony your internal environment is, the more rapidly you will manifest things. Okay, remember I said, going back to this concept of belief systems that we know about and belief systems that we don't know about. The more harmonious you are inside your mind, in other words, the more all of your thoughts and beliefs and values are synergistically and harmoniously integrated. In other words, there's no friction, there's no resistance, there's no things at odds with each other, the more rapidly the things you do will manifest in the outside world. If for some reason you're doing all the right things and things are still not manifesting, it's because there's some friction inside of you, limiting beliefs or conflicting beliefs that say, we can't have this yet. And so the moment you clear those out, any actions you take will become magnified in the outside world. Now, I never really said it that way before, because people will think if I just clean up my shit, then I can do the minimal number of things and I'll get successful. That doesn't exactly work that way, right? You still have to be relentless and willing to do whatever it takes and actively start taking those steps for you to engage the mechanism. But as you do that, an ROI starts to develop, where maybe at the beginning you're doing 2 units of effort and you're getting 1 unit of result or half a unit of result. But you keep going, and all of a sudden that 1 unit of effort yields 2 units of result. And then the half unit of effort yields 3 units of result. And it just starts to grow that way. As you become more indoctrinated into how this system works, as the internal and external aspects of your neurology become integrated together, you wind up generating a whole that's greater than the sum of the parts. As you start to interface with the interoceptive and the non-local universe very, very powerfully, things start to happen. And we have lots of people, if you've ever had those experiences working from the material and planet, go ahead and type those in the chat. So people who've been experiencing things like image cycling and informations and all the other things that we do, go ahead and plug that in to the chat so people can see it. Okay. So when we start talking about taking action, though, one of the things we have to start distilling, people, in spite of the fact they know they have to take action, people still don't. And why don't they? Well, there's really 2 reasons why they don't take action. And I know it sounds like I'm oversimplifying this, but really it's really 2 action. It's really 2. They either don't want to or they don't want to. Okay. Now, what the hell does that mean? Well, they either don't want to because they're afraid, or they don't want to because they don't know how to. They don't understand what to do next. And so when we look at how people create change or how people start taking action, we need to look at where's the big problem. For those of you who do coaching and things like that, this is probably going to seem very familiar to you. We want to look at 2 aspects of a human being, or what's our block to success. And that is it a mindset issue or is it a skill set issue? Now, mindset issues can be diagnosed, at the risk of using that word, if you actually know what to do. If you can see a clear path from where you are to where you want to be, but for some reason, you're just not pulling the trigger. You're just not doing it for some reason, but you know everything that needs to be done and how it needs to be done, you're dealing with a mindset issue. You're dealing with a limiting belief. You're dealing with a fear or a phobia or a conflicting belief, parts conflict inside of you that's not letting you do it. Many times these stem from a lack of deservingness for having it or fear. But sometimes, and this I see a lot, because often the one masquerades as the other, and I should probably clarify right off the bat that these aren't mutually exclusive. You can have a combination of mindset and skill set stuff, but a lot of times people don't realize the difference between a mindset and a skill set, right? They often confuse skill set issues with mindset issues, right? But a skill set issue manifests when you're ready to pull the trigger now. You have all the energy. You could power 12 cities off of the motivation and the desire for success that you have, but you have no idea where to aim that energy. You have no idea what's the first step or the second step or the third step. Now, in regards to procrastination, we'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the webinar. But with regards to procrastination, there's different types of procrastination. Some people, if they don't have if let's say they have 10 steps to accomplish something, and they don't know what the first step is, but they know what the second, third, and fourth step is, they won't take any action. Sometimes they have a fear of success, which says if they start, they'll be successful and they can't have that. Some people can see a clear line of progression all the way up to like the 4th or 5th step. And then they don't know what to do after that. So rather than take the first 3 or 4 steps, they won't take any, right? In my life, I take very much a ready, fire, aim approach. I'll just start and I'll figure it out as I go. But some people, if they don't know in vivid detail the exact set of steps necessary to achieve something, they won't start at all, right? And this is, again, different ways that procrastination can manifest. Sometimes it's fear, sometimes it's lack of fear of success, sometimes it's lack of, a limiting belief or lack of deservingness. But many times it's that basic idea of, I don't have all the steps, so I can't start. Susan says, but isn't that a limiting belief? Yes, it is a limiting belief, but it's not a limiting belief that's based on self. It's based on procedure, or what we call a meta program, the way things are valued, things are supposed to be. Pretty much everything that you're dealing with is going to stem down to some level of belief. Okay. But that was a great question. I tend to divide things into content-based or procedural-based belief systems. So here's something I want you all to kind of write down. This is a quote that I received from my trainer in Illuminescence, my consultant, Taylor Sinclair. And this came from her mother. And it basically goes like this. You can be or do or have anything you want in this world, but first you must become the person who deserves to have it. Now, many times when we're faced with where we are versus where we want to be, it involves us making an investment. Sometimes that's an investment of money. Sometimes it's an investment of time or energy or effort. And there's a little voice in our head that looks at where we are, looks at what needs to be done, and it says, oh, it costs too much, or it's going to take too long, or it's too much work. My friend, one of the things I want you to understand when you hear those voices in your head, those feelings that rise up inside of you, this is what it actually means. When people say it costs too much or it takes too long, even if it's something they know they want, what they're really saying is, I don't deserve to have it yet. Okay? To the degree that you're willing to invest in yourself, to the degree that you're willing to move through discomfort, and this is a big one, discomfort's going to be your friend through this entire process. In Systema, when I was training in combat Systema, one of the big hallmarks of Russian Systema is learning how to get comfortable being uncomfortable. You know, the SEALs like to say, embrace the suck, right? Transformation is never going to be comfortable. You can make it more comfortable, but it will never be comfortable. You know, there's a great saying I love to share with people. Comfort zones are wonderful things, but nothing ever grows there. Okay? So the more you get familiar with being in uncomfortable situations, the more rapidly you're going to take control of your world. Okay? And that's going to be true when it comes to charging for the services you offer, accepting new positions, being willing to take the next step to become the person you truly want to be. They're all going to involve some level of discomfort. So the more you embrace that, the more rapidly you'll move through those processes and get the goodies on the other side of it. Okay. I wish I could, I can tell you that it's going to be effortless. No, you're going to put in what you get out. You're going to get out what you put in, and at least at first, and then it's going to get better. So going back to this idea of action. So one of the biggest motivators that we have, and this is something that I teach in my influence classes. This is something I teach in this class. This is something that will blow out procrastination like it's nobody's business. Okay, and this is in the CPI and killer influence systems. We call this the emotional bonding checklist. Okay, the emotional bonding checklist relates to the fundamental level of beliefs that are right up here. You have an emotional bonding checklist for anything that you can think of, anything that you can conceive of, even if it's something you never thought you would want, there's an emotional bonding checklist for it. So here's what we're going to do right now. We're going to learn the emotional bonding checklist, but we're going to do it in the context of internal motivation. Everything human beings do, let me go back to looking you in the eyes for this. Write this down and tattoo it inside your eyelids backwards so that when you close your eyes at night, as you go into sleep, it's the last thing you see and the first thing you see when you wake up in the morning. This is the key to human influence, cross-contextually. Now, in this seminar, we're talking about intrapersonal influence. In other words, influencing yourself. In other webinars, we've taken this same concept and we've taught you how to do it interpersonally. In other words, with another human being or a group of human beings. Now what I want you to do is I want you to take this process that we're going to do together and I want you to link it to everything we're teaching you in this webinar. So here's how this works. I want you to get out a piece of paper. I would prefer paper and a pencil. This is far more powerful if you write it than if you just type it in a keyboard, but however is fine. Now, the emotional bonding checklist relates to a series of beliefs we call criteria and values. Criteria and values are the emotional reasons for why we do everything. Okay, now you can say we have beliefs we want and beliefs we don't want. There's feelings involved here. There are emotions. Everything human beings do is about emotions and feelings. Now notice I made a distinction there. All emotions are feelings, but not all feelings are emotions. The way your autonomic nervous system works is you develop a kinesthetic internal sensation first, and then you assign a label to it, and that grows into an emotion, and that creates a series of correspondences in your brain of files and memories and things connected to that feeling. What we want to begin to do is we want to peel back the layers, shielding us from the real emotional reasons for why we want something. And for this, you have to understand the dynamics of your unconscious response. Unconscious mind always answers first, always answers honestly, always feels like you're making it up. You always have an urge to edit what just came up. It's never loud. It's always quiet or soft, like a whim or notion in the back of your mind. And it's almost never linear, okay? Now, there's only 2 questions that we need to ask. Let me see if I can find my template. If not, I'll just do it here. I have a template for this, so I want to share that with you. Here we go. Perfect. So this is the template I want you to follow. I want you to stop for a moment. Let me make this bigger. I want you to stop for a moment, and I want you to think about what is it if this seminar could deliver to you the techniques, the qualities, and the attributes that you want, the ability to do things. What is it you want? Write that down. Just under that question, write that question. What do I want from this webinar? What do I want to be able to do? What's it going to do for me if the things David is teaching me works, right? And then underneath that, once you write that answer, I want you to write this question. What's important about having it? In other words, let's say that everything I teach you in this webinar, you take out into the world and you apply, okay? Successfully. What's that going to give you? What's important to you about having it? And I want you to write that out. And again, what I want you to do is I want you to really pay attention to what comes up first and the exact words you use. I want you to write those down, okay? When you're done with that, all I want you to do is type in the chat room, done. Let me type it in the chat room that you've done that. Okay, hold on a second. I'm sorry, I didn't realize I wasn't sharing my screen. So once again, what do you want, or what's it going to do for you? Once you have that, what's important to you about getting it, right? And pay attention to what comes up first and the exact words you use to describe it, okay? And then you're going to wash, rinse, repeat. If you had that, in other words, whatever comes up first, let's imagine for a moment that you got that. Ask the question again, what's important about that? And when you've done that, type in the chat, done. Done, perfect, excellent. Now, under that, again, I want you to write this question. Ultimately, if I could get B and C, if I had that, ultimately, what is important about that? What would that do for me? Okay, and physically write down your answers. Okay, and when you've got at least 3 levels to this, type done in the chat. Excellent, excellent. So Jenny says I couldn't get the first response. Well, if you knew what the first response would be, what might it be? And just pretend you know. Okay, perfect. Now, here's where it gets interesting. I want you to stand up. I know this sounds weird, all right? But if you're driving, don't do this, okay? But if you're driving, don't do this. But if you're at home, stand up, pick up your piece of paper, and I want you to read your answers to the question out loud. Read them out loud. When you've done that one time, type done in the chat room. Okay, done, perfect. Now, say it again out loud. Say it again out loud, type done in the chat when you're done. Cool. And one final time, a third time. And then do it 3 times in rapid succession and type in the chat what happens, what you feel in your body. Agnes says, no, can't smile any harder. Tingling. Oh, you're tingling, David. I feel excitement. Standing tall and proud. Very good. Show questions, please. Okay. Now think about this. Think about this. All you did was repeat your very own words back to you. Okay? For everything you can conceive of, there is a hierarchy of emotional benefits that your body is trying to get for you that motivates you. Now, how excited are you now about going after and following the instructions to get all these things? Now that you've read that, what was the third question? Ultimately, what's important about X? Okay. Some people say they feel anxious. That means point to where you feel that in your body. And if there were a color that would dissolve that anxiety feeling, what color would it be? Breathe that color through the area and notice what happens. Okay, perfect. Now, as you link that excitement to every instruction I'm about to give you and realize that the technique that you've just gotten is the fuel and the engine that drives your achievement in the real world. Okay. For some people, if you didn't feel anything, you didn't get the right information. Okay. Because one of the things that we do with this process is we want to tap in to the emotional desire, the emotional needs that that is driving us, because that's what causes us to bond. It's what causes us to take an action. Okay. When we have this as our foundation, we have the energy to overcome most forms of procrastination. We have the will and the drive to get the training that we need, to transform the mindsets that we need, because we're sure of the reason why we're doing what we're doing. Okay. You've ever heard the expression, you got to find your why. Type in the chat if you've ever heard that experience or heard that phrase, find your why. Right? Okay. This is your why. Now, close your eyes, feel that feeling in your body now. This is where we start to get kind of energetic. Close your eyes, feel that feeling in your body when you say those words to yourself. And point to where you feel it in your body. Right? Now imagine if there were a color connected to that feeling in your body, what color would it be? First impression. Imagine a beautiful ball of that energy floating above your head. Notice how the feelings in your body shift and changes with every breath you take, and every beat of your heart, that ball of energy begins to grow. It begins to expand, begins to fill the entire room from floor to ceiling, from wall to wall, and all points in between. Notice how it wraps itself around you like an amazing blanket of energy, of motivation, of desire, of drive to thrive. A cocoon, a shield, a suit of armor, insulating you, protecting you, inspiring you towards achievement in all levels, real and imagined, and at the same time, flooding your mind, flooding your body, flooding your spirit with everything it most needs, everything it most wants to take the actions and get the results you want. And when you know you've got that, breathe those colors through your entire being. Let it fill you up like water fills up a bottle, like fluid fills up a test tube, like hot air or helium fills up a balloon. Anchor it in so fully, so completely, no force in the universe can turn it off or take it away. Not even you. When you know you've got that, you know that's true. Test it. Try to turn it off. Try to make it go away. And notice what happens instead. And when you've done testing, type in the chat what you discovered. Doesn't go away. Oh, how about that? Get stronger. Perfect. More determined? Absolutely. Is that a good place to start? What do you think? All right. So let's go back, get back on track, shall we? So now that we've got this, as you link these feelings to taking the steps necessary to move forward, here's what we're going to cover when we come back from our presentation. We're going to go into R4 shortly, but I wanted to just share this with you. We're going to talk about rules of the mind. We're going to talk about body-centered energy psychotherapy. This is where we're going to functionalize and actualize many of the processes that we've talked about and we've laid the foundation for. We're going to teach you how to program your future, clear your past, and take control of your life. So if it's okay with you, would it be okay for me to share with you the package that we've put together for you for about 20 or 30 minutes, then come back and continue to teach? Is that fair to do that now? Go ahead and type in the chat if you think that's fair. Okay. Perfect. Excellent. So with your permission, I'm going to talk about something that I think is really cool. I'm really proud of. It's something we've been sharing with people for quite some time. And yeah, okay. Okay, so here we go. With your permission, I'd like to talk to you about the Secrets of Personality Transformation Ultra Mind Control Training Home Study course. This is a series of courses that we've put together in a very synergistic way that allows you to build on the foundation that we're setting in this webinar and truly customize your sense of self, your identity, to remove blocks to success, to magnetize yourself for more health, wealth, and happiness, and all those other things. This is about making more money, helping you close more deals, getting more dates, feeling more confident, more powerful, for really winning the game of life. And if you embrace the technologies that we're sharing with you as a natural byproduct of this training, you'll start to find yourself becoming more charming and charismatic and irresistible. And that's just going to lead to a better version of yourself. So here's what I put together for you today. Now, before I go into it, this offer does expire. It does have a limiter. It expires as of January 7th, 2021 at 11:59 p.m. So if you have to leave early, you have until 11:59 to take advantage of this offer. Some of these things are going to be even more limited, but by and large, if you try to get some of these fast action bonuses after today, they may not be available. So, and we'll put the links in the YouTube channel for you. So, Secrets of Personality Transformation is a 14 video course that includes our entire 7-step identity by design process for controlling your mind and supercharging your sense of self and identity. It's going to teach you how to strategically clear your unconsciously held negative beliefs and emotions, both the ones you know you have and the ones you didn't know you have. It's a $297 value. We're going to teach you how to remove the unconscious safety rules that are keeping you stuck, that are keeping you from moving forward. Many times people start a business, for example, and they build it up to a certain level, and for some reason it fails. And so they pick themselves up by their bootstraps and they start another business and they get to a certain level, and for some reason it fails. And then they decide they're going to do it again, and this time it's all going to be different, but for whatever mysterious reason, they can't seem to get started again. Something won't let them pull the trigger. In many of those cases, what has happened is the unconscious mind has witnessed the pain and suffering from those 2 previous attempts at building a business. And one of the dynamics of the unconscious mind is that it must seek to protect you from bad stuff. And so the way it works is it looks at what caused the problem and it says, oh, the reason he has so much pain is because he built that business and he lost it. So if I can make sure he never loses another business, he can never feel that pain again. What's the most easiest direct way to keep him from ever losing another business? I know if he never starts another business, he can never lose it, so he'll never have this problem again. And so boom, the unconscious mind makes a decision, puts that safety rule in place, and boom, person's stuck. They may know everything that needs to happen. They may know exactly who to talk to, where to get the financing, all those other things, and they just can't get out of the gate. So second level of the identity by design process is about finding those memories, finding those beliefs that have safety rules attached to them that are keeping you from moving forward, removing them so you can continue to move forward, okay? That's what that level is about. And that's the stage 2 of the identity design process, okay? Now, we're also gonna show you how to remove the negative voices in your head. You know, the ones that are talking shit about you all the time, the ones that criticize you, that beat you up, right? And we're gonna teach you how to turn that voice, to transform it into a voice that builds you up, is your own personal cheerleader, that's always telling you all the reasons why you deserve to have things, that you're always loved, that you're always good enough. We're gonna show you in very concrete, very powerful ways how to make that happen. It's a $297 value. We're also going to install into you the 4 pillars of personal power for success. These are 4 default driver states that cause you to move forward. There are a lot of positive states that people have that actually keep you stuck, but there's a small select handful of emotional states that we install in you as a default. They're your go-to. They're operational when you're not even thinking about them, that will move you towards success. Those emotions are playful, triumphant, curious, and relentless. And we'll show you exactly how to install those in you and how to call them up on demand so that you can get that extra power boost when you need it most. We're going to teach you how to install the personal success template of people you admire into your mind. It's through a process we call deep trance identification. And it's based on a lot of something called the Rykov effect, right? We're going to show you how to sanitize the negativity from your past memories and traumas so that when you look back on the past, you only remember these things in ways that make your life better. $297 value for each of those. And then we're also going to give you the Real World Hypnosis Identity by Design course manual. This is a $418 value, and this contains a huge amount of theory and concepts and techniques for how to run your mind, how to control your emotions and ordain your destiny, as well as other approaches to hypnotic influence and conversational hypnosis, instant and rapid inductions, imagination games, things that you can play. So you're also going to get access to our online practitioner community. These are people who have been through the trainings, who've learned the materials, and now reach out to one another through our online platforms or individually to practice. Okay, we'll talk more about that in just a little bit. Total value for this particular set of modules is $2,497. But we're not going to stop there. We're going to add on the value. We're going to show you how to make this even more powerful for yourself. And we're going to do that by adding these special exclusive bonuses just for the people on this webinar who jump in before the deadline tonight. So you're also going to get the Identity by Design Hypnotherapy Home Study course. This is a $1,497 value. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. And once again, in this course, you're going to learn exactly how to unlock the power of your subconscious mind. You'll learn how to be able to hypnotize people anytime, anywhere, under any circumstances. It is a matter of public record that our students easily have hypnotized classes of people in a lobby undergoing renovations next to a jackhammer with complete success. We actually have people who are in that class. So we teach you how to do these things anytime, anywhere, for any reason. We're going to show you in very concrete step-by-step ways how to remove blocks to your success, how to overcome limiting beliefs, how to find and remove those hidden negativities that you didn't know you had. We're going to teach you how to clear up issues that just don't seem to go away. Change that crappy voice inside your head even further, resolve negativity from your past, and install the traits, qualities, and characteristics of the people who you like and admire, the things that you want, and dissolve the things you don't want, and a whole lot more. We're going to teach you instant and rapid inductions, little approaches to color breathing and energetics. We're going to teach you the body-centered energy psychology, body-centered hypnotherapy. Total value so far, $2,994. But we're also going to include hidden laws of attraction. This is probably we just released this class. We did this class in 2020. It's become easily one of our most popular classes. And this is a perfect complement to the Identity by Design systems. It's going to teach you how to unlock the powers of your subconscious mind, find and remove limiting beliefs, for health, wealth, and happiness, and show you how to manifest them. We're going to teach you how to become a money magnet. We're going to teach you how to do things and how to change your internal psychology so that you become someone who naturally attracts wealth, how to influence people remotely for healing and influence and things of that nature, how to find and remove hidden negativity, how to clear up issues that just don't seem to go away. We're going to teach you a powerful new information method for finding the blocks to your success and actually causing your mind to generate powerful reasons why you deserve to have the things you want in life. Okay, even if you don't think you deserve it, this process will start to transform that lack of deservingness into reasons why you should have it. Okay, we're going to show you how to install the traits, qualities, and characteristics of people who are naturally lucky. There are 5 distinct characteristics that all lucky people have in common, and they're not woo-woo. They're actually psychological attributes that you can find within yourself, hone, train, and modify. They're not attributes. They're skills. They're mind skills, as Zig Ziglar used to say. We're going to teach you what those 5 are and show you how to use the identity by design process to actively amplify and manifest those in your life. We're going to teach you the most powerful engine of personal transformation and manifestation ever. If you've ever heard me talk about image cycling or the Bankston system, this is a direct module for specifically how to manifest practically impossible stuff. If you've ever used this particular engine, the image cycling system for manifesting, type your experiences in the chat room so people can learn from you, right? And so much more. We're going to teach you about energetic feng shui, little things you can do about changing the environment in your house that actually causes your energetic practices to become amplified and magnified. What part of your house to do them in, things of that nature. Total value, $5,491 if you were to go to a website and buy them individually. But we're not going to stop there. We're also going to throw in real-world conversational hypnosis, the Stealth CPI Universal Persuasion Protocol Level 1. Now, let me explain why. Because if you know, on the surface, it might seem like, well, David, this is about mental training and law of attraction and programming your mind for success. Why are you teaching me about conversational hypnosis? Why are you including that in the package? And the reason is very, very simple. Remember, we talked about there's 2 reasons people don't take action. There's mindset and there's skill set. Okay. One of the biggest barriers to implementation that I have found amongst human beings in general is the ability to communicate what they want in such a way that the person being communicated with is willing and eager to do what you're asking them to do. So we include this as a way of giving you the ability to express the transformations verbally in whatever context you need to with other human beings. So it becomes a delivery mechanism for very powerful verbal communication that is enhanced by the transformational work that you've done. And that's why we've included these kinds of classes or these kinds of programs in the package, because once you have all this inner game stuff wired in, now you want to amplify that through enhanced language, learning how to target a person's own internal belief systems, their own emotional bonding checklists, how to find the back doors into their neurology so that they get inspired, just like you were inspired when we did that emotional bonding drill together. To do what you want them to do is to get everything they want. Does that make sense? Go ahead. If you think that makes sense, type that in the chat. Okay. Okay. So that's why we're doing this. Okay. Let's go back to this process. So in this process, you're going to learn how to instantly conversationally hypnotize and influence people during normal conversations without them ever even knowing you're doing it. You're going to be able to conversationally mesmerize and charm anyone, anytime, anywhere. We'll show you how to emotionally bond and connect with anyone you meet in seconds, how to control your emotions and use them to influence others. Once you have this ability to control your state, no one can ever push your buttons ever again. And you can, there's the energy behind the things you say and do exponentially increases. The fastest way to change, to get people to want to do what you want them to do is to change the way they feel in their body. The fastest way to change the way somebody feels in their body is to change the way you feel in your body. We're going to drill you relentlessly on how to do this and then bridge that emotion to another person's nervous system so that you can send information non-verbally back and forth that inspires them to change and transform. This is going to cause people to like, love, and trust you at will on command. You're going to have them hanging on your every word. You're going to become, as a byproduct of this training, so magnetic, so charismatic that people will just give you stuff because they feel so good just by being in the room with you. You're going to learn so much more than that, but these are just some of the highlights of the full system that you're going to get. Okay. It's a $1,950 value. We're including this for you absolutely free, because we want you to be ready. We want you to have the tools. Once you've got your inner game, your mind right, your emotions right, your belief systems right, now we want you to bridge. Now we want you to be able to communicate using the most powerful language system on the planet to inspire and motivate and bond people to your way, for them to trust you, to like you, to love you, and basically do what you want in a win-win ethical kind of way. Is that okay to get everything you want ethically and honestly? Type that in if you think that's fair. Right? Cool. But we're not going to stop there, you might have guessed. Total value for this, by the way, is $7,441, but we're not stopping there. We're also going to include Renegade Reframing, how to rapidly change beliefs and instantly overcome any objection in just minutes. Now, stop for a moment and think about this. How many times have you caught yourself, even during this webinar, I say something and all of a sudden there's this little nagging belief or voice in your head that says that's bullshit, or this can't work, or I don't deserve to have this, or whatever, right? What if you had, for every one of those that came up, what if you had 14 different ways to change it? What if you had 14 different ways to change any limiting belief that you had? Imagine this. Imagine you're out talking to people and you're asking them to make a sale or sign up for your product or service, and they come up with some kind of an objection. It costs too much. It takes too long. What if for every objection they had, every limiting belief for not doing what you wanted them to do, what if you had at least 14 different ways to beat it? What would happen to your success in life if you could do that? Type that in the chat, what might happen. Right? So you can use these 14 patterns of change on yourself. You can use them on people who are objecting to the things you're asking them to do, who have a limiting belief themselves. And when you start stacking them, you can completely obliterate somebody's argument for just about anything. Okay? This is why again, you have to have inner game and you have to have outer game. What I showed you first, the 14 video course, the Identity by Design, Real World Hypnosis, Certification Home Study course, is the inner game stuff, the identity stuff. This is the action stuff. This is what's going to allow you, no matter what you do for a living, no matter if you're in the bar room, the boardroom, the classroom, the bedroom, this is what's going to allow you to find what makes people want to do the things you want them to do and overcome any objection they might have if for some reason you missed something that didn't work. Okay, we're going to include this absolutely free for you. It's a $1,950. Oh, and one other thing. This particular course, I love this. This particular course comes with a game that you can play with your friends. It's called the Reframe game. And it's they're included in the manual. You print them out, you cut them up, and it has a set of cards with the patterns on it. You literally like have a person state a belief, you throw the belief card down in front of them, in front of someone else playing the game, and they have to overcome that objection using that belief pattern. So you can actually play the game that allows you to get better at doing this. So it's a fun way to really install these patterns and overcome any objection or win any argument. Okay, total value $1,950. We're going to give it to you free. Combined value for this is $9,391 if you register, if you grab your package before the end of the webinar. Okay. So just as a, just to review, this is what we've got for you so far. We're going to give you the Secrets of Personality Transformation Ultra Mind Control Training Home Study Course. It's a 14 video set plus the manual that teaches you how to do the 7-stage Identity by Design process by yourself, for yourself. And by the way, when you get done, you'll be able to do the entire 7 stages on yourself in as little as 7 minutes. In fact, in this video course, what you'll see actually at the end of the video is you'll actually see one of the participants in the class actually going through level 1 all the way through level 7, and she does it in, I believe, 7.5 minutes, start to finish. We're going to include the Real World Hypnosis Identity by Design Hypnotherapy Certification Home Study Course. It's a $1,497 value. Okay. We're going to include the Hidden Laws of Attraction Mind, Magic, and Manifestation Masterclass, $1,497 value. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. Okay, we're going to give you the Self-CPI Level 1 Universal Persuasion Protocol Home Study Course and Manual, $1,950 value. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. And finally, we're going to give you that Renegade Reframing, How to Overcome Any Objection and Change Beliefs Instantly, $1,950 value. Raj is asking, I already have the Identity by Design course. Can I swap it for something else? The answer is yes, as long as the price point is the same. So if you're swapping a $1,497 course out for another course that's $1,497 or less, yes, you can swap things out. You just need to call Stephanie at 858. Here, I'll just put this in the chat for you. And I'll put this in for our YouTubers as well, for those of you who want to take action. If that's the situation for you, if there's something in the program that you already have, but you want to take advantage of the package, you can call Stephanie and she will happily substitute something that's of an equal or lesser value. Okay. So Renegade Reframing, how to overcome any objection and change beliefs instantly, $1,950 value. Total value of this package, if you were to buy it today on the website, would be $9,391. But as you can probably guess, we would like today to give you the best deal humanly possible. And so obviously, because I want you to make 2021 the best year possible for you, what I'd like you to do is I'm not going to make you pay $9,391. I'm not even going to make you pay $6,347. I'm not even going to charge $5,347, although as you can see, it's really, really worth that, right? We're not even going to go to $3,347. We're not even going to charge $2,347 for this, although you can see where we're going. In fact, for those of you who want to take advantage of this program, get all these goodies today, you can get it all for one low one-time investment of just $997. That's all you got to do. Or if you need a little time, if you're getting started at the beginning of the new year, you can break that into 3 easy installments of just $397. And all you got to do to get that is go to this link here, www.nlppower.com/mental-secrets. That's www.nlppower.com/secrets. Once again, that's www.nlppower.com/mental-secrets. The links are in the chat. You can go ahead and take advantage of that. If you've had experience with these, go ahead and post that. Chapo says, I already took action. I'm happy for that. Yes, you did, right? Now, for those of you who are a little on the fence, everything we're sharing with you comes with a 90-day, 100% money-back guarantee. If the Secrets of Personality Transformation Ultra Mind Control Home Study course doesn't help you exactly how to show result in making you more money or closing more deals, attracting more success, or manifesting the life of your dreams by your standards, by your expectations. If you're not feeling more confident, more secure, more powerful, if it's not allowing you to become more of a winner in social encounters or move through the world in a more empowered, less fearless, or less fearful way, I'm going to refund your money. If it's not working for you, if this technology doesn't do even half of what I say it's going to do, I don't want your money. You have 90 days. Give us a chance to help you. If you have a question, call Stephanie, 858-282-4663. Give us a chance to walk you through the sticking points, right? But if for whatever reason, you're not getting the results that you think you should be getting, if you're not making more money, getting more success, manifesting the things you want, pick up the phone, give us a call, we'll refund your money. Or we'll work with you until you start getting the results. It's your choice, right? And by all means, keep the course and go out and find something that does work for you. But again, we've almost never had to do refunds on this because it actually does work the way we say it does. If you do the work. Now, look, I'm really good at what I do, but I can't multiply zeros, okay? If you don't do the work, if you don't follow the instructions, nothing in this course will help you, all right? So by all means, follow the instructions, get the course, do the drills, get the skills, and make your life everything you want it to be. And if it doesn't, again, give it 90 days. And if you're not on the fast track to success, okay, bring it back, right? I mean, just, right? Now, don't be one of these hit and run people where you buy it, download it, and then rush off, because we're not stupid, okay? We'll blackball you for that shit. But by and large, if you're serious about making a change, if you're serious about taking your life to the next level, when would now be a good time to really jump on this and take advantage of this? There's no risk to this, okay? So get yours now. All you gotta do is go to www.nlppower.com/mental secrets, www.nlppower.com/mental secrets, okay? And as if this wasn't amazing enough already, If, for those of you who've already taken action today, you're going to love this, okay? If you grab your course today, and this is only for the next 15 people, those of you who grab your course today before I end this webinar, January 7th, 2021, 11:59 p.m., you're also going to get these fast action bonuses. First one is you're going to get 3-month free trial membership to our NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program. This is a paid program that we have been running since 2010. It meets on the 3rd Saturday of every month. I'm going to jump out of the PowerPoint here just to kind of explain this to you. Am I sure? Have you been seeing my screen the whole time or not? Have I been sharing my screen? Okay, all right. Can you see me now? Okay, good. So let me explain how the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program works. So we started doing this in 2010. And basically, the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program is not a certification program. It is designed for one thing and one thing only, to give you real world applicable skills in that moment. So we meet on the 3rd Saturday of every month. Now, up until COVID hit, we were meeting in my location here in Solana Beach, California. And literally I would go around the room, people would show up and I'd say, Jason, what do you want to learn? Brandon, what do you want to learn? Aradia, what do you want to learn? You know, Jack, what do you want to learn? And I would listen to what they wanted to learn for that day. And I would write them on the board. And then when everybody was done, I had everything they wanted to learn about listed on the board. I would look at it. I would find all the connecting threads, and I would create a lesson plan for that day on the spot. And we would literally drill the people in the room and joining through us virtually on the techniques necessary to achieve those goals for 4 hours or more until they could do that stuff in their sleep. And we'd send them off into the world to actually get the results they came to learn how to get, right? Next week or next month, they'd come in, 3rd Saturday. What do you want to learn? 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 We write them on the board. We find out what we're going to cover for that day. And boom, we just steamroll through it, drilling, doing the drills and getting the skills till you can do that stuff in your sleep, okay? It's not a program that is going to give you a certificate. If you're looking for a little pretty certificate to hang on your wall, this is not it. If you're looking for a skill set that you can apply out in the real world, if you don't have people to practice with or who are willing to let you practice with them, if you're looking for kindred spirits, this is the place for you. Now, we've been running that program nonstop since 2010, October of 2010 to be exact. We have videotaped every single mastermind training session, okay? And we've archived them in 3 places. It's archived on our private Facebook page. It's archived on the NLP Power Mastermind archive on the website. And we've started uploading mastermind content to the platinum, the gold, platinum, and diamond member levels sections on our YouTube station. When you're a mastermind member, you get full access to all 3 archives. You get the Facebook archive, you get the NLP Power archive, and you get the YouTube archive. You get full 24-hour-a-day unfettered access to 10 years of personalized mastermind concept, okay? Okay. And you get a 3-month trial for you to come in and hang out and meet people and practice the things you really want to learn about. This has been one of the single most powerful, most transformational programs we've ever created. People ask me why I can just string things together from whatever questions come at me and put together a drill. It's because for 10 years, people were asking me how to connect dots between things that most people wouldn't think are connected. It allowed me to teach and understand things in a very different way. When we circle back and start looking at how to apply body-centered psychotherapy or energy psychotherapy to belief change, to overcoming limiting beliefs, dissolving procrastination, things of that matter, a lot of those insights came from having to work with the mastermind group. And if you really want to take your skills to the next level, this is a bonus that you're not going to want to give up, okay? You get a 3-month trial. Come in 3rd Saturday of every month. Tell me what you want to learn. I will drill you personally on those skills. You will practice with all the other attendees, and you'll come out of there with a skill set that you can actually use. We're going to give that to you absolutely free. It's a $594 value, and it's just part of what you're going to get if you actually grab your course today on this program. Okay, total value combined so far is $9,985, but we're not going to stop there. We're also going to include the Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course. This is a distilled version of the Stealth CPI conversational persuasion system that we talked about earlier. This is a drill down on instant and rapid hypnotic inductions, the 7 most powerful conversational hypnotic language patterns on the planet, patterns that will allow you to make anything you want, cause anything you want in the minds of the listener, allow you to make anything you want mean anything you want in the minds of your subject. It'll allow you to drill down and tap into their emotional desires for doing whatever you want them to do. It'll allow you to force their mind to begin to automatically undergo any state, process, or experience that you want them to. It will teach you how to force a person's internal mind movies to be exactly what you described with 0 chance of mistranslation. These are just some of the things that this particular course will teach you. If you want a course that allows you to learn something now, start hypnotizing people tomorrow, we're including this as a way to get started now on your ability to use influence. It's a $997 value. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. Total combined value is $10,982. And for those of you who love to mingle, the single most powerful thing that I can recommend is you get to one of our live events. And we have made a name on the quality of our live events. We believe that live event training is the single most powerful way to install and internalize a skill set, to take you from that interesting information level to an identity level. In other words, it's part of who you are. It embodies you, it informs you, it empowers you at every level of your life. To do that, for the next 15 people who register for this program only, we are going to give you a free VIP super ticket. This super ticket will allow you free admission to any single live event of your choice in our 2021 and our 2020 calendar. Now, some restrictions do apply, and those restrictions are very simple. It's any course that's 5 days or less, and it's any course that does not have a prerequisite. Now, if you've been to the prerequisite course already and you have this VIP ticket, you're more than welcome to attend some of the higher level classes. Okay? The nice thing about the VIP tickets is you don't even need to know when you get it what course you want to take. It does not expire. So once you have it, it's yours until you use it. If it takes you 2 years, 3 years, 4 years to get your butt to a live event, you pick up the phone, you call Stephanie, say, hey, I got this, it's 2022. I got this ticket back in 2020. Can I use it? Come on in, right? You can give it to somebody if you want to gift it, right? You can do that. If something comes up, this is probably one of the coolest things about our VIP tickets. Let's say you're getting ready to come into a training. Maybe it's identity by design, maybe it's face reading, maybe it's hidden laws of attraction, maybe it's killer influence, whatever. You're getting ready to go. And all of a sudden the next round of pandemic restrictions hit, or your boss is a jackhole and makes you work on the weekend you were supposed to go on vacation, or somebody gets sick, or there's a death in the family, or for whatever reason, you can't make the training. All you got to do is pick up the phone, call Stephanie at 858-282-4663. We will move you to another training. You do not lose that slot until you use it. Okay? Let's say you want to come to a training in the UK where everything that we do is in pound sterling rather than US dollars. It doesn't matter. There is no price difference. You walk right to the head of the room. Let's say the class is full. There's no more room at the inn, but you have a VIP super ticket. We'll find a seat for you. All we ask is that if you're going to come, give us as much notice as humanly possible. If you show up at the last minute, we won't get really mad, but we base their material creation, for the courses based on or around how many people we know are coming. So just keep us informed. If something happens that you want to come at the last minute, call. We'll find a seat for you. This VIP super ticket is yours. It's only for the next 15 people. 15 to register today. After 15, this ticket goes away, and you'll have to wait and see if we ever offer this again. Seth is saying list for live events is actually $22.50, so this is a better deal than it says. Seth is our math wizard, so I'll default to him. Total combined value of this package today is $12,932. If you were to go to the website and try to buy these things on an individual basis, you'd be paying in excess of $12,932. However, for those of you who can do math, you're going to get the Secrets of Personality Transformation, Ultramind Control Training Home Study Course and Manual, $1,497 value, and all the free bonuses. You're going to get the Identity by Design Hypnotherapy Home Study Course, $1,497 value. We're going to give it to you free. You're going to get the Hidden Laws of Attraction, Manifestation, and Mind Control Mastery Home Study Course, $1,497. We're going to give it to you free. You're going to get the Stealth CPI, Universal Persuasion Protocol, $1,950 value. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. You're going to get the Renegade Reframing, Overcoming Objections and Conversational Belief Change Home Study Program, $1,950 value. Includes the manual and the card game. We're going to give that to you absolutely free. Plus, you're going to get that 3-month trial to the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program and full access to the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Video Archive. It's actually way more than a $594 value, but we're going to give it to you free. If you like the program, if you like the people, if you like the skills that you learn, just let us know you want to maintain your membership and we'll send you a link to do that. If you don't, if you've gotten what you need, all you got to do is let us know you're done and you take what you got and go. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. For those of you who are fast action takers, we're going to give you the Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course. It's a $997 value with the 7 most powerful, unstoppable language patterns on the planet. The 7 language patterns that turn everything you say into a charismatic, obedience facilitating, compliance facilitating, irresistible, hypnotic communication. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. And finally, for those fast action takers who really want to get in a room with me for 3, 4, 5 days, where I can work with you, program things into you, drill you relentlessly over and over and over again, grab that VIP super ticket and let's go to Vegas and let's make your life everything you want it to be. It's a $1,950 value. Actually, it's a $2,250 value if you go by what Seth said. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. It never runs out. It never expires. You use it until you don't lose it till you use it, and then you can build on that, okay? Total value, $12,932, but yours today for just one low installment of $997. Or if you need a little help, we can break that up into 3 easy payments of just $397. All you gotta do to grab yours is go to www.nlppower.com/mental training secrets. That's www.nlppower.com/mental training secrets. Stephanie is standing by to help you. If you're calling Stephanie, by the way, if you're calling Stephanie and the line is busy, it's because other people are calling Stephanie. Here's the deal. If you call, you must leave your contact information. If you call and leave your contact information, you will qualify for as many of the bonuses that are available when you call. So in other words, if we end this webinar at 8 o'clock and you call, between now and 8 o'clock, but you couldn't get through and you left a message with the contact information, okay? Stephanie will reach out to you and she will offer you the chance to get this package, okay? But if you call, but you don't leave any contact information and then you call later and try to get it, it ain't gonna happen, all right? This is the VIP ticket is only for the people who are present on this webinar. Some of the other bonuses will be available until 11:59 p.m. tonight, but that VIP ticket goes away the minute I log off this webinar, okay? The minute I log off this webinar, it goes away, okay? Is everybody cool with what we talked about so far? Does anybody have any questions about it? Okay. So once again, 14 videos, 7-stage universal persuasion protocol. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and let me just see where I'm at here. Yeah. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take a 7-minute bio break. So for those of you who want to reach out to Stephanie, get your questions answered. Sam was asking, how do I access the 3 easy payments? Reach out to Stephanie and she will help you get set up. There should be a payment option on the actual sign up page as well, but if not, let Stephanie know, she'll take care of you, okay? We are absolutely committed to giving you the most powerful, most real world useful skill sets on the planet. We're going to practically hold your hand and make you do the drills and get the skills. Brian Lou says, how do I register for this class again? All you got to do is go here, sign up for the package, and then once you've got the package, call Stephanie and let her know what course you want to register for. Stephanie is like the most awesome administrative goddess on the planet. She will bend over backwards to help you. I have never met, I have a strong history in customer service. I have met very few people who go the extra mile for a customer and help a customer like our wonderful and amazing Stephanie. And of course, the amazing Brandon Burr is in the background making sure that all the trolls get whacked and all the courses get where they need to go and stuff like that. So it is by my reckoning, it is 5:45. Is that right? 5:45. We're going to take a 7-minute break so you can go and finalize your packages, do whatever. When we come back, we're going to pick up where we left off, and we're going to start blasting out negative beliefs. We're going to start understanding how to program our system for more success. And then what I will do is I will ask you guys what direction you want to take the remainder of the time we have together. Do you want to drill down on more techniques? Do you want me to do like a beginning of the year shit clearing session? You know, what do you want to learn about? Where do you want to go with it? Okay. This next 90 minutes when we come back from our break is all about you. So once you've got your package, go ahead and type in the chat what it is you want to cover. I'll look at that when I get back from the bio break, and we'll pick up. So go ahead and do that now. And once again, make sure you get your course. Get your course, get your course, get your course, so I can see you soon in Las Vegas in person. So again, it's 5:46. I will see you at 5:53. All right, we're coming back from the break. You guys ready to rock and roll? Time for me to, I always keep my promises. So type in the chat. Let me see what you got here. Hold on a second. Good to go? All set? All right, cool. We'll circle around and review this course material again, but now it's time to get back into really why you came here today, which is gaining some real world tools that we can begin to put together. Now, traditionally, there are 3 techniques that I always teach. I've come to call them my transformational triad. Okay, I'm toying with the idea of writing a little book. It's not going to be a huge book, because what I want it to be is like an action manual for people. I'm probably going to call it Secrets of Speed Healing, how to remove any physical or emotional pain in 7 minutes or less, or the 1 minute pain removal technique or something. I don't know what we're going to call it yet, but it's going to be just basic. Do these 3 techniques in whatever order is necessary to get the change. But one of the things that is, there's an underlying system that these 3 techniques, and the techniques I'm talking about are magic frame, color breathing, and energy spinning. These 3 techniques are form what I call the transformational triad. They're based on an understanding of what I could like to call the holographic nervous system. My belief, based on the work of Brent Baum, what I've learned from NLP and other forms of energy healing, and how they view the neurology, both physiologically from Chinese medicine, as well as energetically from Chinese medicine. The human nervous system processes vibrational data holographically. Now, you don't need to know any of the stuff I'm about to talk to you about to make change. And this is one of the reasons why when I do the speed healing book, when I get around to it, there will be one of the sections that says, got pain, go here. Want to understand why it works or the theory behind it, go here. We have to make a really strong distinction between understanding how the car works versus being able to drive it, right? And so on a webinar like this, I want to teach you how to drive the car, not so much how or why the car works, but sometimes our conscious mind needs a little bit of extra stuff. So there's 2 ways to keep people stuck in life. You give them way too much information or not enough. And many times we actually get both at the same time. And what I mean by that is we get a lot of information about something, but it's the wrong kind of information. It's the wrong information, right? It's not what we actually needed to know to do the work. And sometimes it's just too much information, right? So there's a few things that I want to cover very, very quickly that are operating principles of how to make this system, your mind-body system, actually work and create powerful change. Is it okay to cover a little bit more theory and then start knocking stuff out of the park? If that's okay, go ahead and type in the chat. Buffer Monster's asking, are you going to discuss how to reduce negativity and increase positivity? Absolutely. I would like to know the best breathing methods and meditation methods to make changes. You'll learn that. Pain relief in 60 seconds. Help with traumas, anxiety, and present moment confidence. Perfect. All of these things that you guys are listing, you're going to be able to do with these 3 techniques. Can you go more? Is there more to go? Can you do more with it? Yes. But again, if this is the scope of everything we could do, we've got time for this. But if you take this, and again, I recommend you rewatch this webinar multiple times, take lots of notes, do the drills, get the skills. If you apply the skills, they will work for you. Okay? You don't gotta believe it. This is the beauty of this. You don't gotta believe it. You just gotta do it. Okay? You just gotta do it. And the more absorbed and playful you get with this information, with these techniques, the more powerfully they will work for you. Okay? So, quick question. How many of you would like to be 30 to 31% better at everything? Type in the chat if you'd like to be better at everything. Okay. If you type yes, here's what you need to do. Now, this particular metric, this particular statistic comes from one of the most playful, fun-loving, user-friendly environments on the planet, hostage negotiation. And yes, I'm kidding. It's one of the most hostile environments on the planet. But what researchers discovered was that when the hostage negotiator approached the interaction in a playful, easygoing, fun-loving mood, he was 30% more creative, 30% more reactive, 30% more aware, 30% more able to get his outcome, and his counterpart was 30% more compliant. Okay? What we're starting to see now is that the more playful you are in your approach to everything, even the most heinous shit on the planet, the more power you bring to it. Even Richard Bandler, when he would talk about, he knew he was being successful. He was moving towards resolution when he could get his clients to laugh at their problems. Now that's an analog. That's an aspect of being playful. So the secret to this is be playful and be willing to pretend. Okay, if you can embrace those two things, you're going to be able to do mega stuff with this. I don't believe me, just do it. Yeah, Chris Voss. Okay, the more absorbed you become in this process, the more deeply and more rapidly it will work for you. But don't let that hold you back, because if you're not, the less absorption you have, you just got to do more reps, because it's a body-centered approach to change. It's going to integrate everything that NLP teaches and a whole lot more. It's going to integrate energy psychology. It's going to integrate holographic memory resolution, and lots of cool things. So let's jump in to what I call body-centered energy psychology. Okay. Here we go. All right. So everything human beings do is metaphorical in nature. And what I mean by that is that we are not in touch with reality. We are in touch with a holographic representation of vibrational information that we believe is a visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, or gustatory attribute. Okay, so primary, if I can just make this a little bigger here. So information comes in as a primary experience. It's filtered through the lenses of our neurology into visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory data. That data is reconstructed to create a representation of the way the world is. Okay? That information is projected simultaneously into the body and out of the body, and our neurology interacts with it. Okay? This is an aspect of what we call your interoceptic nervous system, or interoceptic neurology, and your proprioceptive neurology. Now, we all are familiar with the concept of an energy field, right? And so the information that we process and store and create is in two locations simultaneously. There's a node inside of our body where all that information is accessible, but there's a corresponding projection somewhere out in your energy field that can be used to measure and manage it. Okay? Now we're gonna actively operate this system, but I want to give you kind of a 50,000-foot view of what we're doing and why. Okay? Part of the reason that sometimes NLP works and sometimes it doesn't, sometimes energetics work and sometimes it doesn't, is because the vast majority of systems operate either specifically in the mind only, they operate specifically in the body only, or they operate specifically in the energy field only. What we want to do is we want to integrate the mind, the body, and the energy field so that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. And there's a very simple set of rules that we follow to do that. And when you do that, you get very, very powerful change very, very quickly. And ultimately, it doesn't really matter what the problem is, because like I said before, everything that human beings experience is represented in this VACOG primary encoding system, whether it's a feeling, a belief, a memory, a daydream, a desire, a fantasy, they're all built out of the same things. So if we understand how to interact with this, we understand how to interact with this, we understand how to interact with this, we get a whole that's greater than the sum of the parts. It's a multiplicative integrational effect, okay? So what are the rules for this? These are the rules, okay? We call this body-centered energy psychology. The first rule that we need you to follow when we start creating change is called somatic engagement. In other words, you must dynamically interact with the energy fields and the holographic metaphors that you're going to be playing with. In other words, you've got to get your body involved. The more you physically act out the change, the more powerful and rapid the change becomes. Also, the more you act out the body, the less conscious resistance you get. Okay? So everything we're going to do is going to involve you actively acting out the change work, right? Some of that may be as simple as reaching out and touching it. Some of it may be as simple as pointing to where you feel it. Some of it may be a little bit more intricate, okay? I want to talk to you about a concept that is very important to what we do. It's called the somatic address. For every single mental or physical construct that we have, there is a specific location in the body where the feelings originate, conscious or unconscious. This is a holographic node whereby we can access all of the interoceptive information that is behind the problem the person is having, okay? Doesn't matter what the problem is. It doesn't matter. Let me go back to looking at you in the face. Let me say this. Utilizing this system, with very few exceptions, and I haven't found many that I can remember, with very few exceptions, it does not matter if the issue you're dealing with is physical, mental, or emotional. They can be addressed through this VCOG triple integrative system, this energy-centered or body-centered energy psychotherapy, okay? You can we've reprogrammed organs to function differently. We've removed symptoms, we've changed the course of diseases, we've done all kinds of crazy shit. And this is just my students doing this, not just me. But you don't got to believe it for it to work. What you got to do is you've got to play with it. You've got to step in and you've got to actually get the body engaged. You've got to play pretend like when you were a little kid. You've got to have absorption. You've got to have focus. Now, as we're getting into this, let me talk about absorption and focus, because a lot of people think they know what I mean when I say absorption and focus. So let's talk about absorption first. Absorption means, well, we'll use this by way of just a quick. How many of you, by show of done or yes in the chat room, have ever been little children? Type that in the chat if you've ever been a little child. If you've never been a little child, probably should work on that. I don't see anybody. Wait, where's my chat? Oh, wait. Oh, okay. For some reason, it wasn't showing all the new messages. I hate when Zoom does that. All right. So how many of you, when you were little children, played pretend? Right? Now, some of you, and I'm gonna kind of gloss through this, but some of you, when you played pretend, some of you were tomboys, some of you were tom girls, right? Some of you were tom neutral. If I'm in California, I have to get away with that, right? Okay. So when you played pretend, right? How many of you were like soldiers, or what was your, type in this chat what your favorite thing to play pretend at was? Army, Lost in Space, okay. Superhero, Indian. Product placement. Okay. Cooking, okay. So let's just use this, let's use a soldier example, right? You're in the backyard, you're 5 years old, right? And you're going to play soldier. You're going to use your imagination to do it. You're going to pretend that there's a soldier. So you pick up a stick in the backyard, right? Your 5-year-old brain. Now, you're 5 years old, but you're not an idiot, right? There's a part of your 5-year-old brain that knows what you're holding is just a stick or a toy gun or whatever. There's a part of you that doesn't know it's not real, or that knows it's not real, for about the first 5 minutes. Because as you begin physically acting out, being a soldier, chucking and jiving, killing the bad guys, right? All of a sudden, you're seeing the bad guys shooting back at you. You're being Rambo, right? And you're killing all the bad guys. You're seeing them fall, and you're seeing things blow up in your mind, and you're interacting with these people, right? Or if you're, maybe you're playing pretend, you're playing with your dolls, and you're having little tea parties, and your dolls are talking to each other, and you're talking to them, or you're playing school teacher or whatever, and the teachers are asking you questions, and you're talking about this, that, and the other. And you're seeing and hearing those things in your mind. How many people had that experience? Type it in the chat if you've had that experience, right? Okay. Here's the question. When you were having those experiences, were you asleep? Were you hypnotized that you know of? Were you really absorbed in what you were doing? Were you having a ball? Were you having the best time ever? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if you can do that here, if you can be as little children, as some of the people said, if you can play pretend like when you were a 5-year-old or a 4-year-old, and you can follow the instructions, you can make any change that you want. You can change almost anything. Almost anything. I have to say almost, okay? The only question I can't predict is duration and degree, but everything is influenceable. Okay. Now that's absorption. That's what I'm going for. When I say be as absorbed as possible in the process, just be like a little kid playing pretend, and it's going to be great. Right. The other thing is focus. Now, focus, I often use a movie metaphor. Have anybody here ever seen a movie? If you've ever typed, if you've ever been to a movie, type it in the chat. Right. I often make this joke, right? You go to the movie theater, right? You got your best guy or girl on one side, big ocean of popcorn in the other, and you're walking down the aisle wondering which one's going to be more fun, right? You sit down in the chair, the lights go down, the curtain opens, and then 2.5 hours go by. And you come out with an amazing experience, right? And aside from that massive ache in your bladder because you watched all of the cookies and all of the little things they hide in the back of Avengers or whatever, can you tell me at what moment during that movie you became completely absorbed and focused? The answer should be no, because if you can tell me when you became focused and absorbed in that movie, you probably weren't absorbed. Right? So when I talk about absorption, I talk about focus. This is what I'm talking about. Okay. Playful, absorbed, focused, point to where you feel it, interact with the construct. You're going to be awesome. You don't got to believe it. This is a mechanical process. It does not require you to have a belief system that says this is even remotely possible. You just have to avoid fighting the process. Okay. So are we ready to play? Yes or yes? Okay, 3 messages here. Hold on a second. Okay, good. All right, so let's go back to our body-centered energy psychotherapy list. Somatic address. Everything that your body processes is going to have a physical body location. What we need to do is going to have 2 locations. Remember I said that everything we do is going to have a location in the physical body, but there's also going to be a correlate in the energy field around us. So one of the things we must do is we must create multiple access points from the body, the mind, and the energies, okay? And that's what we're going to do. The fastest, easiest way to do that is just point to where you feel it, reach out and touch it. Okay, so write that down. This is your methodology. Okay, point to where you feel it, reach out and touch it. So I'm going to go back to this diagram now. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do one exercise together. Pardon me while I get rid of some of this stuff that's in the way here. Okay, so the first technique we're going to practice is called magic frame. Magic frame allows us clear negativity that the body is hesitant to get rid of. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to pick something that you want to change that has an intensity level of about 1 to 3. Hold on a second. Genevieve is asking, is the law of attraction course part of the package? Yes, it is. Okay, pick something that you want to change that has an intensity level of 0 to 3. Type it in the chat what you want to change. Okay. Perfect. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this together as a group. I'm going to guide you through this. Okay. We're going to do this together as a group. We're going to clear one thing together. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to outline the steps for you so that you can do it on your own, so you can understand it. Okay, allergy to eggs. All right. Sue, we may be, well, let's see. Worst comes to horrible, we'll at least minimize it. Okay. There may be some other things that you have to do on top of that, but it may not. Sometimes these things surprise me. These things are still very much, we're still trying to find the limits of these things. Just make sure, because I know you're going to do this to me. You always do. I say pick something that is challenging on a challenge level of a 1 to 3 instead of a 10, but people almost always try to slip in Godzilla. All right. And you can, and if I'm working with you in person, I'm not at the mercy of an internet connection, have at it. If you're working with somebody in a live event, have at it. Okay. This stuff can work very well, but most of us don't have the history of success with these techniques that we need to have to be self-directed. So here's what I want you to do. Pick something you want to change. Close your eyes. Remember that time in your life. Remember that moment. And notice as you do, when you see what you see and you hear what you hear and you smell and you taste what you smell and you taste, there's a feeling that you get. And there's a feeling somewhere in your body where that rises up. Okay? Point to where you feel it. Now, if there were a picture floating in the space around you, a picture that represents that feeling, a picture that you could reach out and touch, where would you reach out to touch it? Go ahead and reach out and touch that picture with your other hand. Trace the outline of it with both of your hands so you know how big it is. Reach out, grab the picture, expand the picture so it's as big as the room. Notice what happens to the feelings in your body. Shrink the picture down to smaller than it was. Notice what happens to the feelings in your body. And then bring it back to its original size. Okay? Now, without changing the size of the picture, slowly pull the picture closer to your body. Notice what happens. Move the picture further away from your body. Notice what happens. Right? Now, okay, good. Now what I want you to do is I want you to use your imagination. I want you to imagine you could take a big, thick, black picture frame and put a big black picture frame around that picture that you want to change, around that feeling and that experience that you want to change. Okay? Once you've got that, most of you are probably too young to remember when televisions had real dials and knobs and switches instead of touch screens and remote controls. But I want you to feel along the base of that frame. You're going to notice some dials and knobs and switches like on an old style television. I want you to find the knob that controls the brightness or the contrast. And I want you to turn that knob all the way to the right until the image whites out completely. Notice how that makes you feel. When you got that, turn the knob all the way to the left until the image blacks out completely. Notice how that makes you feel. And decide which one you like better. If you like it whited out, turn it all the way to the white. If you like it blacked out, turn it all the way to the left. When you've got that and you're satisfied, take the index finger of your dominant hand, and in glowing golden letters, I want you to write on that whited out or blacked out screen everything this experience had to teach you, everything it's trying to do for you, positive or negative, so you can keep all those lessons and let everything else go. Now, I'm going to tell you right up front, some people, the minute you start doing this, they know exactly what to write. They got no problem writing it. Some people have no conscious idea what to write, but there's a part of you that always knows. So just let that finger start writing whatever it's going to write. Some people don't know what the fuck to do, so they just draw squiggles. Some people draw pictures. Every now and then, some rebellious motherfucker says, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you across the screen. Some people write with both hands simultaneously, like they're writing Chinese and Hebrew at the same time. However your body does it, just let your body express what it needs to express. Keep writing. Let the feelings come up, let them come out, put them on the screen so you can keep all those lessons and let everything else go. And when you've got that, when everything is on that screen, just keep going. I'm going to keep talking, but you keep writing until you know you're done. I've had people write for 20 minutes. Not a problem. If a feeling comes up, put it on that screen. If you start to have weird bodily sensations and physical responses, that's the process of your neurology transforming. Keep writing until you know it's done. When you know it's done, reach up, shrink that frame and everything in it down to the size of a postage stamp or even smaller. Float it up over the top of your head. See, feel, and hear it disappear behind the horizon. And when you know it's disappeared behind the horizon, you know the sound a hammer makes when it's banging on a nail or a nail gun makes? Hear, see, and feel it nailed back there for all eternity, impossible to come back. When you know it's nailed back there for all eternity, impossible to come back, all I want you to do is test it. Try to bring that old feeling back and notice what happens instead. And type in the chat what happens instead. Sigh of relief, Kathleen says. Perfect. It's stuck. Gone? Perfect. Relief, right. Chest tightness is gone. Excellent, right? This is how fast transformation can be when all of the systems of the human neurology work together, speaking a common language. Okay? Now, you can utilize this process. Is the black cloud just, I don't know what, I have to go back and look at that. It's reduced but not totally calm. That's perfectly okay, Louise. There's a couple of parameters. Is David on Zoom or not in this chat? I'm on both, Alex. I'm in the chat, but I'm also on Zoom. So there's a little bit of a delay between when I speak on Zoom and when it shows up in your chat. Don't feel it, gone. How about that, right? Now, here's the beautiful part about this. You can do this for everything. Was it a hard process? Was it a hard process or was it simple? Right? Only took us a gazillion years to figure it out, but once we did, change happens, right? Now, that's the basic technique. Anything you want to change, point to where you feel it, reach out and touch it, put a big black frame around it, white or blacken it out, write the lessons, shrink it down, move it behind you, nail it back there, try to bring it back and notice what happens instead. That's it. But now we could spend weeks unpacking every little piece of every nuance of what happened in that 3-minute technique. But you can do that. How often should you do this, God Force? As often as you want to. EGRNHL says, how many times a day? Does it work for areas of 8s, 9s, and 10s? Yes. The difference is when you're working on the 8s, 9s, and 10s, it's a good idea to have somebody else guiding you through it, because there's this level of neurological arousal that you have to learn to deal with and manage. That's not always easy when you're dealing with the Godzilla-sized stuff, but mechanically, it's exactly the same. So Jaxty is asking, 1 second. And the cool thing is we can help others with that technique. Yes. As a matter of fact, Helene's first experience was actually using this on her students. She's an elementary school teacher. But my English writing is not good. I'm trying to find, there was a question. I'm trying to get back to it, but I may have to. I actually did do an 8, 9, or 10, but I do feel a lot more resolution. Yeah, Brittany, because I was guiding you through it, right? The idea, there's a methodology that I want you to use when you use this technique, okay? And it's called bucket listing, and it's a way of reorganizing and disidentifying from the traumatic shit in your life, okay? Brittany says, I felt like an expert. You were an expert. Once you realize how the system actually works in simple mechanical steps, you can go to town with this. I have people transform every aspect of their life by this. Jack says 12s. Jack, again, if you're going to do this on things that have that high a level of emotional intensity to them, it's always better to have somebody external guiding you through it. But if you follow the process that I'm going to outline, you have a high degree of probability of success because you've built the requisite repetitions to get the 8s, 9s, 10s, 11s, and 12s. Okay. So can we talk, should we talk about that? Should we talk about that aspect of it or not? Okay. Because some people, okay. Buffer says, most techniques have a limit to best make improvements. Are there any best times of day for this technique? I recommend you do it as close to a hypnagogic state as possible. But honestly, anytime, I've had people do this in lines at Starbucks and lines at the airport. We do this, again, one of the mottos of real world hypnosis, which is what we certify you as, is the ability to do these things anytime, anywhere, under any circumstances, for any reasons, okay? So Paul is saying, yes, please talk about the aspect of it, the 8s, 9s, and 10s with another person. Okay, so we give this process a funny name. We call it bucket listing. But for those of you who really want to start to transform and maybe don't have the revenue to go see somebody to guide you through it, you're a consummate do-it-yourselfer, this is the way you must, I recommend, that you train yourself to change yourself, okay? It's gonna require you to do some steps to set it up. But if you set it up and you work the system the way I show you, changing yourself is going to be much, much easier. Adrian says, make sure you're not driving when you do this. Yes, that is true. That is absolutely true. All right, so let's go back to my OneNote. Let's see here. All right, we'll just scroll down here. All right, I want to talk to you about a process called bucket listing. Bucket listing is a process of de-identifying and reorganizing traumatic events. Okay. Now, we probably need to define what I mean when I say trauma, because some of the shit we have, we wouldn't think of as traumatic. So when we talk about trauma, what we're talking about is any perceived violation of physical, emotional boundary. The key word here is perceived. Okay. Now, if it's a limiting belief, that belief is usually connected to some kind of traumatic event. Okay, so you can lump them all together. What we do is we start with the most traumatic thing or the most problematic thing in our lives. So there's two ways you can approach this. You can do this free form, or you can do this in by theme. Free form means you just randomly list stuff. Maybe one thing, maybe when you're doing random stuff, maybe it's a fear. The next one might be a limiting belief. The next thing might be a physical pain. This is a random process, okay? Limiting belief, physical pain, random trauma, right? So we could just make a list of all these things and organize them by intensity. So maybe the random trauma has an intensity level of 10. The limiting belief has an intensity level of 5. The physical pain has an intensity level of 3, right? So we organize them by most intense to least intense. Okay, that's the random approach. Or we could take a thematic approach. Let's say on any particular day, I want to work on all the fears I have. So first thing I'm going to list is the level 10 fears. Maybe I have a phobia of heights, right? Maybe I have a fear of intimacy, fear of rejection, fear of success. These are all my fears, right? I list all my fears and then I look at them and then I decide, okay, heights is a level 10. If it's a phobia, it's usually 10 plus, right? Intimacy is, a level 4. Rejection is a level 6. Success is a level 3, right? And so what I want to do now is I want to take this list of fears and I want to organize them from highest to lowest. And then when I'm ready, when I have the list complete, okay, I start with the level 3s and the level 4s, and I work my way up. So ideally, you would have a list that goes all the way from level 10 all the way down to 0, right? You would start at the level 1 to 0. You would burn out all of the fears that you have, that have a level 1 intensity. Then you would work on all the fears that you have that have a level 2 intensity. Then you would work on all the fears that you have that have a level 3 intensity. And you would just keep going up the scale until you're at the 8s, 9s, and 10s. Okay. Does that make sense? Jack says nerve spinal damage, car wreck. Jack, we've had people actually significantly mitigate the nerve damage using this technique. I won't say it's going to happen with everyone, but it has it can have a significant impact because even your physical pains and all those things are still built. They're still built in the derivatives of the same holographic system. And if you go to some of our videos on the YouTube channel, like instant emergency pain relief and things of that nature, you'll see us using these exact same techniques on very intense traumatic physical pain. So anyway, so are you guys with me so far? Are you following the bucket list idea? Okay, so here's what I need you to do now. Okay, I need you to let's take 5 minutes. Take 5 minutes and make a bucket list of things you want to change. Now you can do it free form like I outlined, or you can do it thematically. You know, all the limiting beliefs you have, you can do fears, you can do sadness, you could, anything that bothers you will work with this. Okay, you want to do physical issues, right? You can do that. But the idea is, once you have it written down, you got to write this shit down. Okay, this is important. And you got to look at them and you got to reorganize them by most traumatic or most problematic, most intense to least intense. Well, that's actually, Jack, why this particular technique is really good. Because if there's any reason why you need to keep it, it'll take away the aspect that is okay to get rid of, and it'll keep everything else. Many times when we have residual nerve pain, things of that nature, a lot of the residual is actually superfluous. We don't need to keep it, but the system doesn't have a very clean way of getting rid of it. So this provides an alternative reprocessing mechanism for the neurology. But test it and see how well you do. Okay. But when you've got your bucket list done, just type "done" in the chat, and we'll move on with the next part of the process. Feels like a driving force. Okay. And what you would probably want to do is you probably want to explore that a little bit more in depth. So I would recommend you make an appointment with one of our folks, or use like our STEMS technique, or the Identity by Design processes in Self-Mastery Supercharger to help you really redefine what you want to do with that. You can also transform those sensations into something that's less problematic for you. A lot of ways to change that. Okay. Usually when pain is returning, there's one of two reasons why that is. A, there's a safety lesson attached to it that is still active and it hasn't been reprocessed. The other is there's something biomechanically that you're doing that's re-aggravating the problem. Okay. Those are the two big variables. You're welcome, Jack. How can we use this to help with GAD without it risking going out of control? What is GAD? Okay, Jefferson says done. Okay, cool. All right. Heidi, if we have time, I'll come back and cover STEMS technique. But for those of you who are platinum members, if you're members of our platinum level on YouTube, I just did a 3-hour Ask Me Anything class where we actually taught the STEMS technique. So if you're one of our platinum YouTube members, you can go right into your members area on YouTube and watch the AMA from this Monday. Does this help with PTSD? 100%. Okay. Kay Williams asked, does this help with PTSD? 100%. In fact, this is actually one of our go-to PTSD protocols. Generalized anxiety. Yes, this can help with that. I'm not up on all the acronyms, but generalized anxiety, yes. Yes. Blanket term is yes, it can. I don't say it will, it can, right? Because you got to watch what you say on the internet. You know, the FTC is very, very specific about what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not, in spite of my feelings to the contrary. Okay. But yes, I have a lot of clients who use this on all forms of anxiety, all forms of fears, phobias, traumas, physical pain, mental pain, emotional pain, does not matter. Okay. So here's our process. We're going to start with the level 1s. Paul says, I've had nice success with Magic Frame for post-traumatic stress disorder. Yes, absolutely. Okay. All right. So once again, let's go back to my OneNote. So here's how this works. You take the level 1, you're going to point to where you feel it. Okay. So let's say I have a level 1 problem, and when I think about it and I feel it in my body, I feel it here. And I ask myself a question. If there was a picture floating space around me, a picture I could reach out and touch. Where would I reach out to touch it? Okay. The moment you ask yourself that question, pay attention to the first thing that comes up. That's your answer. Whether you agree with it consciously or not, the first thing that comes up is what you work with. Then what you're going to do, you're going to point to where you feel, you're going to reach out and touch the picture. So the short, let me see if I can shorten this up. Point to where you feel it. Reach out, touch it. Make a frame around it. Use the control knobs. White out or black out the image. Write the lessons on the screen. Shrink it down. Float it behind you. Nail it back there. Try to bring it back. Notice what happens instead. Okay, so those are the steps. If you want to take a screenshot of this, you can. So once again, we have an ouchie in our body that we want to change. We reach out, touch the picture. We blacken out or whiten out the screen. And then what do? We shrink it. We move it behind us, all the way back behind the horizon. We nail it back there. When we know it's nailed back there for all eternity, we try to bring it back. Notice what happens instead. And you're done. With this particular process, ladies and gentlemen, it does not matter. It does not matter if it's a physical pain or emotional pain or something in between. They all respond in the same way. This is called the magic frame technique. It's designed specifically to address issues that have a secondary gain connected to them. In other words, a reason for holding on to it. So we start there. Susan says, how do I become a platinum member? Go to the community tab on your YouTube homepage, and there should be a link to join the subscription level. Okay, so for those of you who are joining us late, we've just covered a very powerful technique known as the magic frame. Can we see the text again for the screenshot? Sure. Hold on, let me see if I can center this for you a little bit. So again, I'll give you a little space here. That should be good enough for what you need. Point to where you feel it, reach out and touch it, make a frame around it, use the control knobs to white or blacken out the image, write the lessons on the screen, shrink it down, float it behind you, nail it back there, try to bring it back, notice what happens instead. Now, what you're going to want to do when you guys are done with the screenshot, just type done in the chat, and so I can go back to talking to you face to face, because there's a lot more I want to teach you today. It's 10 p.m. and I need more espresso for this. Done. Okay, good. All right. So let's talk a little bit about this technique. The technique itself is actually quite simple. Now, this is one of 3 techniques that I call the Transformational Triad. The other 2 techniques are color framing, or color breathing, and energy spinning. Okay. A couple of things about this particular technique. A, it is about 10 to 20% of the time, when people start writing stuff, they're going to get emotional. They're going to start to cry or wheeze or choke or cough or twitch or yawn or whatever. And there's a part of you that's going to want to make them stop. Don't. Keep them writing. Whatever feelings and emotions come up, physically have them write it out. One of the major pieces of this doesn't seem like a big deal, but there's 2 major pieces of this. The first one is point to where you feel it, reach out and touch it. Okay, the point to where you feel it, reach out and touch it creates multiple bridges from the organic aspects of the nervous system to the vibrational and subjective levels of the nervous system. It creates multiple on-ramps to the same location. It activates more areas of the brain than just doing it in your head, right? And this is one of the reasons why you get such profound change so quickly, is because all of the brain and body's resources are being organized and mobilized to a specific location for a specific issue. They're all speaking in a language each division of your neurology understands. So the first piece is A, point to where you feel it, reach out and touch it. Trace the outline of it. This is the somatic engagement part. Now we make it bigger, we make it smaller, we move it up, we move it down. Those are things you can do to amplify and really clarify and get the static out of the bridge that you've created, but you don't need to do it for beginners, right? Blacken or whiten out the screen. Write the letters, have them physically write out everything. If they start to abreact, they start to have emotional venting or purging processes, make sure they don't stop writing. You have to keep writing. Everything that comes up emotionally, have them write it on the screen. Okay, because one of the problems that we have, and one of the reasons that bad feelings make us sick, is because they're locked in the body and it has no way to come out. The body doesn't care how it comes out as long as it comes out. So you can verbalize it, you can write it, you can do all kinds of interesting things. So this is one of the most useful and effective ways for the body to express things it can't verbalize. Okay, the inability to verbalize a traumatic experience or put a name to it in trauma circles is called alexithymia. It's the inability to put a name to something. Okay, the writing aspect allows the subconscious and the autonomic nervous system to vent all the emotional charge. So it's easier to let it go. Now, when you go back and you review this video, there's a couple of catchphrases that I want you to use. A, keep all the lessons and let everything else go. You can't say that too many times. Keep all the lessons, write everything out on the screen, write all the lessons out on the screen so you can keep all the lessons and let everything else go. That one sentence creates magic. The next important phrase is this. Notice how you're feeling shift and change as that frame flies over the top of your head back beyond the horizon. You know the sound a nail gun makes when you're banging on a nail. Make the sound effects. Act out the change. Bring it to life. Okay? When you know, here's a key phrase, when you know it's nailed back there for all eternity, impossible to come back. When you know it's nailed back there for all eternity, impossible to come back, test it. Try to bring that old feeling back and notice what happens instead. Try to bring that old feeling back and notice what happens instead. Laguna Beach asks, can you still hide behind keeping your eyes shut but still point? Absolutely. Yeah, that doesn't seem to be a factor too much in this. Okay. Now, one of three things is going to happen. Maybe four. One of four things could happen. A, they're going to try to bring the old feeling back. It's gone. Can't come. Can't bring it back. They're going to try to bring the old feeling back. The new feeling is going to get stronger. Third possibility is they try to bring the old, you ask them to bring the old feeling back or try to bring the old feeling back. They look at you and they say, I don't want it back, right? Now, there's one other possibility, but that just tells you there's something else you need to do. And that is a lot of times there's more than one issue connected to that theme. And so sometimes there'll be a little bit of a residual feeling. And then you just repeat the process on the residual feeling and it'll go away. Sometimes it's a different experience. Sometimes it's a different memory that's just connected to that one. Sometimes there's another safety lesson for that particular experience that needs to be retained. You just repeat the process until they're gone. So Michael's asking, does it work in the heat of battle, not just afterwards? I'm going to go on a limb here, Michael, and say if you're trying to do this in the heat of the battle, this is probably not the best time to try and do this because you're in battle. So you've got your mind on other things. Okay. Questions about this process? Okay. So for those of you who joined us late, that we are offering a special one-time deal. This is Secrets of Personality Transformation, Ultra Mind Control Training Home Study Course. It's the technique we just did is actually the second technique taught in the Identity by Design silo. So you see just what one of these techniques can do. You learn all 7 plus a whole bunch more in this program. It's got 14 videos. It's got the 7-stage Identity by Design system plus the manual. It's a $2,497 value. Plus the online community NLP Power Mastermind mentoring program, which is absolutely priceless if you want to take your skills to a whole new level. We're going to throw in the Identity by Design Hypnotherapy Home Study Course, valued at $1,497. We're also going to include the Hidden Laws of Attraction, Mind, Magic, and Manifestation Home Study Course. This is our premier Law of Attraction training. It's a $1,497 value. We're going to include that absolutely free. We're going to give you the Stealth CPI Level 1 Universal Persuasion Protocol, how to make anyone you want like, trust, and believe you, and eagerly do what you say. $1,950 value. We're going to give that to you absolutely free. We're also going to include the Renegade Reframing, Objection Obliteration, and Speed Conversational Belief Change Home Study Course, valued at $1,950. And for those of you who sign on before the end of the webinar today, we're going to include the Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course, valued at $997. We're going to throw in the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Practice Group Trial Program, 3 months for $594 value, absolutely free for you. And of course, for the first 15 people to register, we're going to throw in that free VIP ticket to any single live event in our 2021, 2019, or 2022 calendar. It's a $2,250 value. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. Total value for this package today only, is $12,932. For those of you who know this will take your life to the next level, who have had some significant change in the last half hour or so, this is just the beginning. I encourage you, I really urge you to grab one of those few remaining slots and come to our live event in January 27th through the 31st. And you can get it all for one low installment of just $997, or if you need help, you need a little bit of time, you can break that up into 3 easy payments of just $397 each. And all you got to do to get on the fast track to becoming the best version of yourself, to getting the life you want, the way that you want it, by getting the things you want that make you happy and being happy with the things you want, all you got to do is go to www.nlppower.com/mental training secrets. That's www.nlppower.com/mental training secrets. Or you can call Stephanie at 858-282-4663, and she will happily help you answer any questions that you have. And again, this offer is really only good until this area here. This is only good until I log off the webinar, or until 11:59 p.m. tonight, whichever comes first. Okay. Let me take some questions and then we'll come back and we'll do some more stuff. What about arthritis? Yes, we've had people use it. Robert, we've had people use this for arthritis. I've used this on for people with scoliosis. I've used it for arthritis. I've used it for nerve pain. I've used it for neuropathy. Some forms of phantom limb I've worked with a little bit. Adrian says, I usually pay by Western Union. I have not used a credit card in years. Well, if you want to do something Western Union, reach out to Stephanie and see what she can work out. Biofeedback back. Not sure what that means, Michael. KG says, FYI, YouTube notifications aren't working. Not sure what that means. What note? I'm using it now, but allergy is still making me ill. Okay. You need to give your body some time to process. Okay. Allergies are usually I would not recommend that you try this on an allergy initially, because unless you have somebody guiding you through the process. Okay. Because usually allergies have a little bit more behind them. Okay. But the next technique might help you that I'm going to share. How do we overcome financial ceiling with the help of magic frame method? Okay, well, it's a great question. I've gotten identified by law of attraction. It's so good. I really recommend it. Courses are mind-blowing. Will there be a Q&A? A Q&A for what? All right. You guys ready for the next one? Yes or yes? Okay. So this next technique is one that's a little bit, well, it's about as old. I've been doing it about as long as the magic frame technique. They usually do go hand in hand together. So this next technique that we're going to talk about, again, it works on the idea of being playful, pointing to where you feel it, playing pretend. Again, taking in mind now that we're using a bucket list. This is everything I'm teaching you now presupposes we're doing a bucket listing approach. So we're going to do this first to feel good. How many people here by the show of hands, by the way, can feel good for no friggin' reason? Of course, Seth says yes. Okay. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a pleasure-based technique first to amplify the amount of pleasure we can feel. Then I'm going to show you how to clean up shit with it. Does that sound like a good plan? Cool. All right. So here's what I want you to do. Everybody stand. If you're driving, don't be doing this. Wait until you have a chance to listen to the replay. Okay. So here's what I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to think back to a time in your life when you felt the most amazing, thrilling, fulfilling, satisfying pleasure imaginable. Not that one. No, I'm teasing. I don't care. I'm not the pleasure police. I just want, I'm not going to ask you what feeling you're having or what the pleasure was, what you were doing, who you were with, how many laws you were breaking, how many state lines you crossed, what substances I don't care. All I care about is when you think about that most amazing, most powerful, most like lust-provoking, pleasurable experience, that if you had a chance to experience that again, you would take off like a rocket. When you remember that feeling, remember what you saw, remember what you heard, remember what you smelled and what you tasted, and most importantly, where in your body, when that feeling came up, did you feel it? Take a moment, point to where you feel it, and close your eyes and look at that spot with your inner eyes. And I want you to notice that there's a color, maybe even a series of colors connected to those amazing feelings. Notate in your mind what color or colors that might be for you, first impression. And on a scale of 0 to 10, rate the intensity of that amazing, wonderful feeling. And when you know you've got that, I want you to reach in to that spot where all that pleasure is. I want you to reach in with both your hands, grab all that energy take it out and hold it in your hands in front of you. Make sure you get it all, because you don't want to miss a single drop of this all-encompassing, body-filling goodness. And now I don't care how long it takes, just keep pulling until you got it all. When you got it all, I want you to look at it. I want you to notice. Did the color change or stay the same? First impression. And now what I want you to do is I want you to take that, I want you to notice it's moving, it's spinning in a certain direction. Notice what direction it's moving or spinning, first impression. And now what I want you to do is I want you to grab it with both of your hands. And I want you to play with it. I want you to play with the direction it's spinning until you find the direction that makes it even better, that makes it irresistibly orgasmic, transformational, spiritual, blissful, whatever the word is. I want you to find that perfect direction. And when you find that new direction, I want you to grab with both your hands and spin it like a wheel. And I want you to double the spin, double the speed, double the force, double the magnitude. Keep doubling it over and over and over again until it takes on a life of its own, until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. When you know you've got it, impossible for it to go back the way it was, slam it into that spot. Notice the change. Notice it's strong. Notice as this new energy works its way deeper and deeper and deeper into your body, any program, any belief, any memory, any experience that's not in harmony with this new set of instructions, your neurology is going to begin to shed. It's going to begin to purge like a snake shedding its skin, like old software being uninstalled by newer, better, more powerful software. There's no need to measure it. There's no need to manage it. There's no need to make it happen faster. Just notice that process taking place. Allow it to install itself completely. And when you know it's done, you know it's locked in, only getting stronger, impossible to go back the way it was, test it. Try to turn that good feeling off and notice what happens instead. Now, many times as this new program works its way deeper and deeper and deeper into your neurology, many people go through all kinds of interesting transformations and sensations. Some people break out into sweat, some people laugh, some people yawn, some people cry, some people twitch, some people just feel waves of ecstasy and emotion coming up. However your body expresses it, it's just the neurological reset period. It's just your neurology resetting itself, the emotional detox. There's no need to measure it, manage it, or make it happen faster. Just notice that process taking place. Allow it to install itself completely. And when you know it's done, test it. Try to bring the old feeling back. Try to turn the new feeling off and notice what happens instead. Okay? And when you're done, type in the chat what you experienced. Ashlyn, then magic frame it first. Do a magic frame on the pleasure and then redo it. Ecstasy, Victor says. Euphoria. Fire. Hope that's good fire. Total peace. Feeling good and calm. Very good. Hope that's in the package offer tonight. Yes, it is. Everything I'm doing is in the package. So if you were wondering, everything I'm sharing with you is actually in the package that we're offering tonight. So I highly recommend you grab one of those few remaining opportunities. Okay. Here's those links again, just in case. Green abundance. Yes. Olfactory sense. I mean, I think you need olfactory senses there, Michael. Spread it around like butter. Feeling good and calm. Excellent. Now, what you did there, Kashif says surreal. Agnes says, really? Alex, that's next level. Feeling safe. Excellent. Now, the version of energy spitting that I just did with you can be used for things you want to get rid of or things you want to make better. So let's say you have something that you really, really love to feel and you want it to be stronger. Point to where you feel it, look inside, rate it, notice the color, take it out, find the direction that makes it better, spin it faster and faster and faster until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was, slam it back in and hold it until the process is installed, and then try to bring the old feeling back, try to turn the new feeling off, and notice what happens instead. Alex says tasted peppermint. So weird, right? Again, Richard Bandler is fond of saying, you know, most human beings haven't tapped into 1/10 of what their neurology is capable of. My experience is that that number is probably way overstated. It's probably less than 1%. And I haven't found the top limit to a lot of these technologies, but I do know that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. So when you start to bring these things together, literal magic can happen. But you don't, and the best part is, guys, gals, you don't need to believe it. You just got to do it. You understand? I try to sanitize the need to believe something as much out of the technologies that we use as possible and distill them down to pure principle and mechanics. And if you follow the mechanics, you'll get the results. Okay? How does one override the pheromones of a past lover when its presence is sensed? Very easily. Point to where you feel it. Notice the color. Notice the direction it's moving. Change the direction of the spin until it's what you want instead. When you find the direction that gives you the experience you want instead, spin it faster in that direction. Keep spinning it until it automates, till it takes on a life of its own, until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. When you're certain it can't go back, slam it back into the spot. Hold it until it engages. Okay? Now, one of several things will happen when you do this. A, it'll go away and it won't come back. If you try to bring it back, the new feeling will get stronger. B, you try to bring it back, they can't. C, they try to bring it back, they get pissed off and say, fuck it, I don't want it back, and it won't come back. Many times what will happen is if you say you're doing this something that's a level 9, you spin it, it drops to a 5. Spin it again. Go from the 5 to a 3, spin it again. Just keep spinning it until it zeroes out. If it goes away, comes back, magic frame it, then spin it. Okay, there's a very specific reason why I taught the techniques I'm teaching in the order I'm teaching them. So David is saying, or Alex is saying, if you have someone that's intentionally seducing you and they go cold to evoke a sense of desire, how do you not fall for the desire? First thing is recognize what they're doing as a tactic to manipulate you and do something else. The secret to a lot of this, the dating tactics that involve some form of fractionation or freeze outs is recognizing the tactic and reframing it. Lekned says, David, I know you can manifest and the physical thing in the world, but why is it so difficult to manifest a specific person as a lover? There's lots of reasons why that could be. Most of them have to do with, you know, usually it's the person doing the manifesting and and again, mindset and skill set. Okay. Sometimes there's a basic incompatibility between the person you are on the inside and the vibrational signature of the person you're trying to attract. Sometimes it's behavioral, sometimes it's other things with the other person. There's a lot of nuances to that question. For those of you, by the way, I don't know if you guys are interested or not, but I'm actually doing a by invitation only 4-day training in February 17th through the 20th. We're doing a course called Attraction Mastery. It's a 4-day psychology of love and attraction certification boot camp for men and women. And it's a deep dive into the art and science of creating attraction, of meeting people and finding ideal relationships for love, sex, and other forms of sensual fulfillment. It's not a course that we're actively advertising all that much. So if you're interested in that, you can use your VIP ticket for it. It's in February in Las Vegas. You can ask Stephanie about it. And we will go deep into the questions like Lek is asking and things of that nature. It's both for men and women. So we'll be teaching things to women that they need to know. We're teaching things to men that they need to know. And in a perfectly safe and friendly environment, you'll be able to practice with each other to get good. So, right. Seth has actually been to some of our, we've done other attraction courses before. So I invite you to come out, right? It's fun. No sex in class. No, absolutely no sex in class. For those of you who are interested in more body things, we actually have an erotic hypnosis training called Sensuality Enhancement coming up in August in Las Vegas. But most people aren't ready for that yet. So Alex says, powerful. What's an example of reframing? Just seeing that it's manipulation and not falling for it. Yeah, you could literally just say, you know, I'll bet that intentional freeze out thing that you do works on a lot of other aspiring pickup artists, but it doesn't work on me. right? Where I come from, people who do that are considered rude and bitchy and not worth the time of day, right? So you literally just put another frame, other meaning around what they're doing, right? You know, you could say when they do the freeze out, you say, I know in your world, you think it's generating attraction, but in my world, it's just pigeonholing you as a manipulative bitch, right? You put a new meaning to the behavior. And that's what Renegade Reframing will let you do. Like when you're faced with those kinds of behaviors, you just pull one of these 14 bullets out of the Renegade Reframing course and boom, you fucking hit them with a thunderbolt and they don't know, they go speechless. They don't know what to say, okay? Ash says, how to improve intelligent, logical ability for coding? That would take a slightly, you'd have to ask a better question. We didn't have time to go into the semantic search engine concept today, but that's part of the process. When you get the package, you'll get a full deep dive into energy-centered hypnotherapy, which has all of the somatic components and what we call the semantic search engine concept. The semantic search engine concept is an understanding that the autonomic nervous system of the human being seeks to answer any question you put to it, regardless of how shitty the question is. So if you want better results from your neurology, you have to ask better questions. Can Magic Frame be used for tackling a financial ceiling? Yes. If you can conceive of it and verbalize it, you can use Magic Frame to fix it. Adrian says, I use a state of meditation. Uses the word, yeah, don't use hypnosis because what we're doing is actually outside the realms of most classical hypnosis anyway. You're better off calling it something very sciencey like psychosomatic neuromodulation or whatever. Agnes says, you want to attract, not seduce, build rapport and connection. Okay. So has this been useful for you guys? Did you guys learn some cool stuff? So real quick, type in the chat for me what using these techniques is going to do for you. What's it going to let you do now that you couldn't do before? Just so I know I'm not utterly failing in my attempt to give you something powerful. My questions go way beyond this. Come to the class, come to the training, Jax. Get one of those VIP tickets, come to the live event, and ask anything you want. I like making people laugh, free of limiting beliefs. Yeah. So useful. Cool. You guys have fun? Work with wife's pain. Excellent. And this spinning technique, by the way, I have actually used to reverse nerve damage and bring sensation back to basically dead nerve. And I've used it on 3 times for various cases of neuropathy, both from TBIs as well as circulatory. Very openly opinionated. That's one way of putting it. Limiting beliefs, confidence, perfect. All right. So listen, if you had a great time, a couple of things. A, if you've been on when am I coming to the UK? As soon as they open the borders and we can set up a date, I'll be out there. Can I use it for a skin issue? Yes. I've actually used this for psoriasis. I've used this for skin picking. I've used this for some herpes outbreaks, some acute herpes outbreaks. I think I've used it for anhidrosis or excessive sweating, for fertility issues. Yes, Genevieve, you could use it with fertility issues with the caveat that there's probably a little bit more complex stuff going on there. But the short answer is yes. My mother-in-law has shingles under her right boob. How to point to where you, all right, that's a great question. One of the things we're going to cover in the Identity by Design training is that when we start using the spin technique, especially for physiological illness, which is where I started using it, by the way. First time I started using it was for physical problems. We have to make a distinction between acute and chronic. Herpes infections are generally considered chronic. So there's going to be 2 types of question that you ask. You ask a stem question and a root question. A stem and root is something that goes back to Chinese medicine. So in the short term, if you want to get rid of the pain and the aggravation, then you just point to where you feel it, reach out, spin it, put it back in. That should neutralize the acute flare-up. If you want to start to address more of the chronic aspects of it, you have to use a slightly different question. And that question is, there's a reason that feeling is there, and there's a feeling connected to that reason. Point to where in your body the feeling connected to the reason the symptom is there is located. And once you find that secondary location, which is really the primary location, you spin that first. I would magic frame it and then spin it. Bernardini says, this technique will help me relieve my back pain for a while, but it comes back after a while. Then you got Bernard, what you want to do then is you want to frame, magic frame the pain first, the back pain, the reasons for the back pain, and then you want to spin it and see what happens, okay? If for some reason it doesn't completely mitigate, which is rare, but it does happen, then you want to start to address if there's anything biomechanically that you're doing that's re-aggravating or re-injuring the spot. See, Michael says, heart fields that day went dark. Okay. I'm not sure what that's about. Okay. All right, real quick, one last chance to do this for you guys. For those of you who have been on the fence, these are two of the techniques that you'll be learning, as well as all the theory that goes into it. You'll be able to do this for yourself. You'll be able to do this for other people. We're going to give you the Secrets of Personality Transformation Ultra Mind Control Home Study course. This is a 14-video course that teaches you the 7-stage Identity by Design system and manual. It's a $2,497 value. It comes with a complete access to our online community, which is absolutely priceless. You're going to get the bonus Identity by Design Hypnotherapy Home Study course, valued at $1,497. You've got the Hidden Laws of Attraction, our premier Law of Attraction and Manifestation program. It's $1,497 value. We're going to give that to you absolutely free as part of this program. It has all the lucky traits in it. It has all the information and the ultimate manifestation engine in it. We're going to teach you and give you the Stealth CPI Level 1 Universal Persuasion Protocol, valued at $1,950. We're going to give you Renegade Reframing, Objection Obliteration, and the Art of Conversational Belief Speed to Speed Conversational Belief Change, valued at $1,950. And finally, the Fast Action Bonuses, Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course, valued at $997. We're going to give that to you absolutely free. We're going to give you the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program 3-month trial membership, plus the archive, valued at $594. And then finally, for those 15 people, those special, super committed 15 people who want to get in a room with me for 3, 4, 5 days and get this stuff put into them at levels that are superhuman in many cases. For those of you who really want that level of personal attention, there's that free VIP super ticket that lets you attend any single live event in our 2021 calendar, 2022 calendar, total value anywhere between $1,950 to $2,250. We're going to give that to you absolutely free if you register for the Secrets of Personality Transformation program before I log off this webinar today. You can get all of it, $12,932 of unstoppable, empowering tools and technologies that will transform. You've seen in just a couple short hours, what 2 basic techniques can do. Imagine what the entire system and all the tools that go with it will allow you to do. Connect that to the reason why you jumped on this webinar and do what you got to do. It's all yours for one low investment of just $997, or if you need to, break it up. 3 easy installments of just $397 each. Work it out with Stephanie. All you got to do is go to www.nlppower.com/mental-secrets/mental-secrets. Or if you need to, if you have questions, if you need to substitute something out, if you need to you've got duplications, or you want to customize your package in some way, just reach out to Stephanie at 858-282-4663. She will help you. She is the ultimate administrative goddess. And if she has anything, and there's just something she can't answer, she's going to refer it right to me anyway. Okay. So that being said, I'm just going to take a few minutes, take a few more questions, and then I'm going to turn you guys loose, go out into the world and get everything you want. Okay. Some of you guys are really funny. Already contacted her. Boy, is she fast. Yes, she is. Okay. Last time we did this, we sold out in like an hour. Once we started letting people do this, we sold out. By the way, for those of you who are chomping at the bit, let me put this up here. January 27 to 31st, 2021, Las Vegas, Nevada. We're doing our next 5-day real world hypnosis, identity by design, hypnosis and hypnotherapy, certification bootcamp. You can use that VIP ticket to walk right in the door. All you got to do is click that link, get your VIP ticket, and show up. Matthew, I recommend if you got questions about the entire program, just go ahead and reach out to Stephanie. She will answer every question that you have. Traction Mastery in February. Yeah, I haven't written the sales letter for it yet that describes everything we'll be doing. But we are intentionally keeping that training small and by invitation only. So don't be surprised if there's very little external advertisement or promotion of that training. I try to keep my attraction trainings kind of in the background. Stephanie says if she's on the phone, leave your message. And when you leave a message, please leave your contact information. Mark Steyer says, thank you, David. My pleasure, Mark. Dr. David Snyder Walker teaching us the ways of the force. You guys are funny. All right. Stephanie, where can I, here you go. Here's how you get in touch with Stephanie. Oh, shoot. Sorry. 282. I'm sorry. 858-282-4663. I'm sorry. I didn't type in the full phone number. You are very welcome, Kashif. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Please, if you enjoyed this video, I don't normally ask this, but after you've gotten your packages squared away, please like and share this video to as many people as you think could benefit from it or who could use it. Let's pay all this forward. You've got some techniques, you've got some technologies. You're welcome, Flav. Go ahead and please, please, please help people help themselves. Hold on a second here. Susan, reach out to Stephanie and see what she's able to do for you. She's kind of the final arbiter on value exchange, okay? I'm not saying no, I'm not saying yes. Just talk to Stephanie and see what she says. David, do y'all get down to Texas with courses? I would like to, but right now with travel restrictions, no. My intention is to do at least one event in Texas at some point in the next 12 to 24 months, though. Bernardini says, David, I'm looking to manifest a job that will bring relations and wealth. What's the best way to go about it? I already know which job it is. Start with Hidden Laws, Self-Mastery Supercharger, Hidden Laws of Attraction, and CPI 1, which are all included in this course. They will give you the exact tools that you need to nail the job on a physical level, a metaphysical level, and an interpersonal level. Okay, we've had a lot of people manifest and get crazy job offers utilizing those combinations. Taking New Approach podcast, already liked it. Thank you. Awesome. You guys rock. Ashlyn, you should be able to get access to your package within the next 24 hours, if not sooner. Sandra says, I need that manifestation for work too. Yes. I'm going to tell you, I've been playing with law of attraction and things of that nature for a lot of years, and I have not seen a single more powerful manifestation engine than image cycling, which is what we teach in the Hidden Laws of Attraction program. Her mailbox is full. Oh my God. All right. Sandra's in. Excellent. You guys are rocking it. Thank you. All right. Now, for those of you who may have been a little negged out by what happened in the Capitol today, point to where you feel it, reach out and touch it. Spin it. It'll make it all change for you. Okay. Stephanie's mailbox is full. Keep trying, keep emailing. Okay. What code do I use for New Zealand? I don't know. What code do you use from New Zealand? You know what you might want to do if you're trying to contact her? You might want to try Facebook Messenger and contact her over the internet by phone. Oh, Ron Osborne says use a +1. Stephanie is popular, especially right now. Here's those links again, just in case. You guys have been awesome today, by the way. Thank you so much for hanging out, for playing, and for being so enthusiastic about the changes. You know, every webinar, I come in with a basic format, you know, and I try to give people something that they can just take out into the field and start banging it out and making changes right away. And I have a list of techniques and a list of principles that I always try to share. But what comes out and the way it comes out is always unique to the audience that's participating. So here's a couple of things as you're getting your packages and getting in touch with Stephanie and stuff. A couple of things I want you to understand. Obviously, with so many people in the chat, with so many people out having all these things they want to know about, questions fly by faster than I even notice them sometimes. So here's what I want you to do if you'd like more information to go deeper. And this is what I mean. After I log out of the live from Zoom and after I terminate the live stream on YouTube, I want you to go into the comments section of this video. And what I want you to do is if there was a question that you wanted an answer to that you asked, but I didn't answer it, or I didn't see it, or somebody else didn't answer it, I want you to go into the comments section for this video and I want you to re-ask those questions. Okay? Because I always go back and read the comments for the video, and I always do my best to answer the questions that didn't get answered. And I try to usually in the description for the video, I try to list the sources I quoted. Like if I quoted a book or something like that, I'll try to list that. I'll list the webinar, the link for the offer, and whatever else I think is relevant for people who want to know more about the content of this video. But my intention is always to give you the most that I can in the time that I have and point you in the direction of where to go for more. It's a new year. It's the first NLP Power webinar of the year. Certainly, we've got some stuff to get over and put behind us and dissolve from our neurology so we can be clear and free and open for a great 2021 to be able to pivot and adapt to whatever comes our way. And I really believe, I really feel that the package that we've offered you today, if you apply 1/10 of what of what's in that course, your life is going to be unrecognizably good. Okay. And if it doesn't, for whatever reason, if it doesn't deliver, and we can't help get you past your sticking points, which we do, by the way, we will work with you in any way we can to help you get past your sticking points. If for some reason it doesn't, we'll give you your money back, right? But you got to actually put the shit to work, right? We're really good at what we do, but we can't multiply zeros. And that, you're the person we multiply by, right? I don't care how sucky you are at this. If you put some effort into it and you follow the process, you will have amazing results. And they will only get better, right? Think about it for a minute. How many of you made some significant changes in something that was bothering you today? Type that in the chat if you did. Don't be bashful. Okay. Now, here's something to think about. The results you've got today is the worst you'll ever get. Because it's first time learning it. First time you learn anything is when you're the worst at it. You're only going to get better. Jeff says he added some serious things to his bucket list. Excellent. Okay. remember, if you're gonna do a DIY approach, if you're gonna do it yourself, you gotta bucket list it. You gotta bucket list it until you get such a history of confidence in that technique that it just starts to generalize. Okay. Most of Matthew, the offer to kind of contradict Seth, the offer is good until 11:59 p.m. tonight Pacific time. So if you jump on and grab one of the packages before 11:59 p.m. Pacific, you can get pretty much everything but the VIP ticket. I think the VIP ticket's the only thing that had the real heavy duty limiter on it. But after 11:59, you get whatever the basic package is. So, and you can break that up into installments. Just reach out to Stephanie or click the link and work out the details there. So Victor says, yeah, got in. Excellent. Perfect. You guys rocked it today. Seth was the hero today, apparently. Very cool. All right. Well, Seth can be our hero today. All right. Well, that being said, one last time, here's what we got for you. Secrets of Personality Transformation, 14 video set, teaches you how to do all this to yourself, for yourself, along with the manual and the online community, $2,497 value. You get the Identity by Design Hypnotherapy Home Study Course, $1,497 value. Hidden Laws of Attraction, Manifestation, and Mind Control Mastery, $1,497 value. Stealth CPI Level 1, Universal Persuasion Protocol, $1,950 value. Renegade Reframing, Objection Obliteration, and Speed Conversational Belief Change, $1,950 value. Fast Action Bonuses today. Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course, $997 value. Yours absolutely free. The NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Practice Group and Archive, 3-month trial period membership, $594. And of course, the free Super VIP ticket for any single live event in our 2020-2021 calendar. So if you find something on the calendar you want to go, let Stephanie know. We'll put you on the list. If something comes up later that's not on the list and you want to change, you can do that. All right. You don't even have to know what you want. You just got to be in the system. So total value today is $12,932. As some of you have already found out, some of these bonuses programs you can't buy on the website. The only place you can get them is through our webinar. So I recommend you grab it now. All of this is yours for one low installment of just $997 or 3 easy installments of $397. All you got to do to get yours is go to www.nlppower.com/mental training secrets. That's www.nlppower.com/mental training secrets. And then as soon as you do, you might want to seriously consider coming to our next Identity by Design Hypnosis and Hypnotherapy 5-day certification boot camp in Las Vegas, January 27th through the 31st. Okay. You guys rocked it today. I want to thank you all for spending time with us. And in the immortal words of the late, great Carol Burnett, or at least the great Carol Burnett, I'm so glad we had this time together just to have a laugh or sing a song. Seems we just got started. And before you know it, comes the time we have to say so long. Good night, everybody. Have a great start to your new year. We'll see you in Las Vegas.